Hi, welcome back to Reddit Stories. I'm Shane. I'm Shane. I'm Shane. I'm Shane. And today's theme. I controlled my neighbor's TV for 6 months from my phone and made him sell the TV. Now I regret it. Last year, I had an asshole neighbor who always would be playing loud music, be rude to everyone, and not pick up his dog's shit when they would go for walks right outside the building. The dog had a barking problem too, but I'm not hating on the dog. One evening, I had problems with the internet, and for shits and giggles, I tried to connect to my neighbor's Wi-Fi with a password, 01234567889. Guess what? It connected. The same evening at 11 p.m., I started hearing shitty drum and bass from my neighbor's apartment as usual, and all of a sudden, I see a pop-up appear on my phone. I have a Samsung phone, and when you open the YouTube app on any Samsung Smart TV, a pop-up appears on your phone with the TV-casted YouTube app, as long as both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network. You have full control of TV YouTube on your phone. Pause, play, volume, skip video if it's a playlist, choose a different recommended video, etc. At first, I did not realize what the pop-up was, and I just thought, what the f*** is this? I thought my phone was glitching. There were options like pause, forward, volume, etc. I pressed pause, and all of a sudden, there was silence in my neighbor's apartment. After a few seconds, the music started again, and I saw that the play button turned to a pause button again on my phone. I pressed pause again. Music disappeared, and behind the wall, I hear, what the f***? I cannot describe the feelings I had in that moment. My facial expression must have looked like that Chris Pratt meme from Parks and Rec. Oh, snap. The music started playing again and again. I pressed pause. Now I'm hearing grunts and profanities from my neighbor. I could feel his confusion and anger through the walls. I had never felt so much power in my life. God, universe, or whatever you want to call it, had blessed me with a gift. I kept f***ing with him that evening. Pause, skip video, turn the volume up and down. He tried turning TV on and off, logging in and out of his YouTube account, and nothing seemed to work. He was so pissed off. It was the first time I was happy that the walls in our building were so thin. This went on for days. It turned out he mostly used YouTube on his TV to watch videos, podcasts, even to play music. He was going completely insane. He did switch to Spotify, I'm guessing, for music, but still, every time he wanted to watch a podcast or some videos, I was there, ready and waiting for him to feel my wrath. Throughout the next few months, I heard him call customer support multiple times, making him reset the TV to factory settings, logging in and out of the YouTube app countless times. Sometimes I would stop messing with it for a couple of days to give him false hope. Then all of a sudden, when I hear him watching some comedy podcast that he is enjoying, I would start playing another video for him. He would literally scream. Long story short, after 6 months of this, as I'm walking down the hallway one day, I saw a random couple carrying the TV out of his apartment and him holding cash in his hand. I drove him to sell the TV and buy a new one. At that moment, I felt bad and started to regret my actions. Felt kind of childish about the fact that I had been doing this for 6 months. Wow. That's pretty funny. Don't make your password 0123456.
That's, yeah. The craziest thing is that's the first time this has happened to him. He needs to check his bank account.
I know.
Oh, wow. True. I need to change my password from 123456778.
I just feel like I feel like I would get suspicious that someone's connected to my Wi-Fi because I've had that kind of happen where my Bluetooth speakers start playing something else, and I'm like, oh, someone accidentally connected to my speakers. Yeah, which is not as big of a security risk.
Right.
Like that can happen. But that only happened like once. But I'm like, oh, it's someone around. But that guy never assumed.
But he also waited 6 months. That's so long.
He really dealt with that. But also, it's like, it's a TV. That's expensive to replace. So he's probably like,
yeah,
shit.
but you, listen, TVs are expensive, but when I moved into my new apartment 2 years ago, I was shocked. And I'm sure they're having some crazy sale. I got like a 40-inch TV for like $220.
Oh yeah, you can get good deals if you get them at the right time.
Now, with that being said, it does monitor me all the time.
Yes.
And it feeds me ads, but it was real cheap.
He could have had a lot more fun with this. He didn't say what videos he was playing. See, like, if it was me no matter what videos he's watching, no matter what he's doing, I would just always switch it to the music video for Who Let the Dogs Out. just endlessly, just
Oh my goodness.
I would pick one video and it would just be that.
Wow.
And then him explaining that to customer support, like, yeah, the TV, it keeps switching to Who Let the Dogs Out.
That's crazy. What I would record my own videos, unlisted, right? Unlisted videos, and then play them, and he can never find them again. He's like, how do I look this up? How do I do it? And it's me from like the future, right? Horrible. Just screw with him, with messages. Yeah.
Some comments here. Look at it this way. Some couple got a nice secondhand TV. OP responded, and for a discount. Thank you. Never looked at it that way. Someone else said, but now you can't control his TV. Maybe you should have only used it when the need arose. He said, I just was not ready to wield so much power. I did think about it after the fact. Like, I could have literally made him question reality. For example, press pause only when he goes to the kitchen, or skip video every time he says a certain word. Yeah, the walls were that thin and the f***er talked loud. Someone else said, I can see for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but 6 months? That is some top tier level commitment, sir. At least you realize what you were doing is childish, but don't sit on any regret. Just don't do it again. You got a good laugh in, plus you mentioned they played loud music / drums at 11 p.m. Slightly justified, in my opinion. OP responded, the dude was a complete asshole. Half of the building was complaining about him, but yeah, it does not really justify my actions, LOL. Someone said, did he let the new buyers know it was defective? If he didn't, he's the asshole. OP responded, no idea about that. Either way, they definitely got a good TV for a secondhand price. But see, this is the thing. The guy's not changing his Wi-Fi password. So his next TV, he could connect. I see, that's where you could get real funny.
I think I got a business idea, right? I can get TVs half off.
You know what? The guy who actually started controlling the other guy's TV, he actually sounds like a really good person.
I think he's
just, like he said, he doesn't want to wield the power or whatever, but he sounds like a very level-headed person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I don't know.
It could have got real bad.
I want to get to know him.
Are you scared of them finding your Wi-Fi password?
No, I just feel like he's a cool person, you know? Like, he's like, you know I know I was wrong, but like, I can with that. That's cool.
Yeah. No, whenever someone writes and they're like, hey, I know what I'm doing is wrong. It kind of, I don't know, washes away a lot for some reason.
He was just being petty Betty. Petty Wop. Petty Wop. Petty Murphy.
Okay, next story. Today I up by talking to Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, well, there's your mistake right there.
Yeah, there you go. My kids are off school for the holidays, so I took them to the local trampoline park today. When we got there, I looked around and noticed a familiar face. I look a little closer and I realize it's Neil Patrick Harris there with one of his kids. We live near Los Angeles, so it's not uncommon to spot a celeb. In fact, I've seen Neil Patrick Harris out and about once before. I went over to him, excited to tell him how much our family recently enjoyed 8-Bit Christmas. Good movie, by the way, worth a watch for 80s/90s kids. So I say, hey, are you Neil Patrick Harris? I ask. He smiles. No, but I get that a lot. I am an actor, though. Me, disappointed and assuming he's in community theater or something. Oh, really? What have you been in? Him, politely. Well, I've been Iceman in all of the X-Men movies. Immediately, I realized that the reason he looked familiar was because he is Shawn Ashmore. He does indeed play Iceman in the X-Men franchise and is also Lamplighter in The Boys. So I pretty much made an ass of myself. To his credit, he was extremely cool about it. Seemed like a genuinely nice guy. But lesson learned, I probably won't try to talk to celebrities anymore. I have seen Shawn Ashmore in an audition, but I recognize him as Iceman. Yeah, he does look. He kind of looks like Neil Patrick Harris.
Literally, there's only one person in my mind as Neil Patrick Harris, and I would not. That's so interesting. Well, you f***ed up, dude. What the f***? That was messed up.
Dude, you're such a piece of shit.
Why did you do that?
Why'd you try to talk to Neil Patrick Harris?
Honestly, it's not that bad.
It's not. This isn't that bad of a mess up, and like I don't really fault people for going up and talking to someone, and they were super polite about how they went about it. For me personally, if I see someone that I'm a fan of, I don't talk to them.
Especially if they're with their children.
Yeah,
that's a huge.
I would say I'd be like, don't. They're out with their kids. Like, let them be out with their kids.
Exactly. I wonder how they said, what have you been in? Because that would change it. Oh, well, what have you been in?
Yeah, literally.
Or if they were
it's
like, oh my God, well, what, like, how do I know you? I think that
yeah,
flips.
like I'd save face and just be like, oh, I definitely recognize you. Sorry, like
clearly I know you.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Do you guys want to see the side by side?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see.
No.
No. What?
No. Not even if they tried to look like each other.
He's a good actor.
That is not Neil Patrick Harris. You did.
But what if singing?
Buddy.
No. They have the same top 1/3 of their head.
Yes.
Like
and that's what
eyebrows
this person
up.
just looks
So
like.
if he went like this, maybe you would think.
Maybe.
Some comments here. Honestly, I like Neil Patrick Harris, but I would rather meet Shawn Ashmore. Someone said, one time Drake came up to me at a nightclub in Charlotte, North Carolina, and asked if I was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Turns out he wasn't Drake, nor was I Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
What?
I love that.
What in the world?
And they're like, we got a great business opportunity here. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Drake. Someone said, dude looks nothing like Doogie Howser, MD.
Nice.
Yeah, that's.
Doesn't.
I think that's what's a little surprising to me is clearly they didn't know. I mean, how do you watch a movie with Neil Patrick Harris and then in person? I guess people think in person someone might look a little different.
I just imagine Neil Patrick Harris always is like snapping and like skipping wherever he's going. So like
He's
I would
like
look
a
for
root
that.
toot toot kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just he's showbiz.
I try not to have expectations because sometimes you meet a celebrity in person and they're the complete opposite of their on-camera persona.
Yeah.
My take is like, I am such a fan of some people, but I know I'm not a fan of who they actually are in real life. I'm a fan of the performance that they're giving, even when they're doing talk shows and red carpets, it's all a performance. So when you meet them in real life, I don't want that shattered.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm certain it will be shattered.
And a trampoline park with their kids is probably the least glamorous place to meet somebody.
Absolutely. You got that weird overhead lighting.
Yeah.
It's like smells
Little
like
stinky.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
You up.
Sorry, you up. All right, next story. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend's father his blessing to propose? Doesn't seem so bad.
No.
So it's a 26-year-old man. His girlfriend is 22. Okay, first of all, sorry for any mistakes. English is a second language, and I'm still processing what just happened. So I've been dating my girlfriend for a bit more than a year. She's the perfect girl for me. She's hot, caring, and smart, and we both love each other very much. I've been thinking about proposing for a while. My girlfriend is almost done with school, and I have a good job with a lot of savings. Since we're visiting her hometown for the week, I thought this week would be a good moment to ask her father for his blessing. I've only met with her family a couple of times since they live in another city, but they never seem to have a problem with me. Her father is pretty easygoing, so while we don't have much in common, I wasn't really scared of his reaction, only a bit nervous. This afternoon, while my girlfriend was out with old friends, I sat down with him and asked him if I'd have his blessing to marry his daughter. He looked really awkward and confused, and asked me a couple of times if I was being serious. I explained that I was, that I loved his daughter very much and would make sure she never needs anything. He said something along the lines of, "Whoa, I don't know what to say. I was not expecting that." We were silent for a bit, and he left the room. I was disappointed to say the least, but still had hopes to convince him. My girlfriend came back soon after and received a phone call from her mother, who told her I asked my girlfriend's dad for his blessing. My girlfriend was really angry at me for asking her dad instead of her, and that doing so is sexist, which is stupid because the point was to ask her dad to propose, not to marry her by force. Saying she was absolutely not ready for marriage, wasn't even considering it because she thought it was way too early in our relationship. After more than a year? She said she felt humiliated in front of her parents, and now she left to sleep at her mother's tonight, leaving me alone with her father, who's been avoiding me since our conversation. I don't understand what happened. I'm really hurt by her reaction and the way she viewed the possibility of marrying me as completely absurd. I'm really angry and confused at her parents for telling her about my plans instead of letting me propose how I intended.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay.
It should have been a conversation before. Like, it feels like it came out of nowhere, no?
I'm of the belief, and from what I've known and just everything of, a proposal is never really a surprise.
No.
I don't think it should be a surprise.
So if
you should agree you're getting married.
I think so.
And then it's like, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And then surprise.
And then it's like,
a
when's
controlled surprise.
the proposal should be a surprise in that you don't know when it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But not that
if.
You know that it is
happening.
going to happen.
Exactly.
And it feels kind of circumnavigating when he's going to her dad before. He's like, no, we need to have this conversation before you're talking to my parents.
Right.
No.
I mean, a few things come up for me immediately. Like, obviously, it seems like this guy seems like he has lots of different experiences, right? Like, first, he's 26, so I think maybe whether it's like culturally, whether it is just what he knows or what he believes, maybe he is just in a different stage of his life, and he is kind of like around this time is when you're supposed to get married. So there might be just a little lack of considering that she is like 4 years younger.
Yeah, 100%.
She is not even done with school yet. So I
Yeah.
think for her and her parents, it kind of was like marriage. Like, how about graduation?
Yeah,
You know, like
100%.
kind of out of nowhere. But also, again, like it could be like he maybe wanted to make it like more romantic or tried to ask for permission from her parents before going in for it. Like, I don't have too big of a problem with that. What I don't like is how he was like, I wish that I just got to do how I wanted it. I wish that I just got to propose how I intended.
That makes him an asshole.
Yeah, like obviously there were other things and other people's feelings at play, and I think that is maybe where he misstepped.
Well, right, because so much of this, if they communicated and they were in line with, because look, people get married at different ages. Some people want to get married young. Some people want to wait. He clearly was not aware of what his girlfriend's plan was.
No.
He has not been asking her what she views her love life as being.
And then she felt blindsided when the parents come at her with marriage. She's like, I never said that.
Exactly.
Who told you that?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for parents' blessing if you and your partner are both like in line with wanting to do the traditional stuff and the traditional path of it all.
Yeah.
But she's clearly a very different person than he thinks she is.
I think so too. I think he is just kind of considering, again, himself in that he is like, I found this dream girl and we've been dating for a year and that is plenty of time and I gotta just go for it.
She's also 22. Like, she's gonna change 4 times over before. And what's the rush? What's the rush?
I don't know.
They've only been dating a year. Why not just enjoy
I
being
don't
married
know.
for a
I mean,
time?
some people with different backgrounds, they believe like you should get married sooner. Like, he strikes me as someone who's very traditional in a lot of ways.
Totally.
And you know, there's partners out there that he could meet that would fall in line with that and be like, yeah, I agree with that, and I want that too. But he's clearly not asked his girlfriend anything about what she
there's
wants.
not been a conversation.
That's what makes him an asshole.
He's just navigating under his own standards and being like, well, I think I should get married right now, and I think I should get married to this girl because she's perfect for me and it lines up with my life, but not hers at all.
No.
Exactly. He's thinking about himself.
It kind of feels like he's trying to take the father role. He's like, and now we're passing you on.
Yeah.
And now I'm in charge of you.
Oh, scary town.
It is scary town.
The verdict was asshole.
Yeah.
The comments, you're the asshole. All of this could have been avoided by having an adult conversation with your partner about future plans. Some people still like the whole asking dad for a blessing / permission things. I find it outdated, and it seems so does your girlfriend. Something that would have come up if marriage was at all discussed in the year you've been together, along with a potential timeline of when it might be appropriate to propose. Yeah. I also think a very appropriate conversation nowadays in dating is, do you want to get married? Because I feel like so many people I know are like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation you need to have.
Or at least just gauge like general interest.
Right, have a conversation.
Yeah, I'm amazed it never came up at all in all your conversations. Someone said, she's 22 and you've only been dating a little over a year. Of course she's not ready for marriage. Right. No hate to those who marry young. You're the asshole. Yeah, he has a very different view because he put in parentheses, he's like, we've been dating for over a year.
Yeah, I'm like,
forever.
No, my guy.
Someone said, you're the asshole. It is sexist. You asked her father for permission to marry her. It's a tradition rooted in sexism and is reminiscent of a time when women were property. You are not ready for marriage. She is very young. She is technically still in her adolescence. ends at 24. A year isn't that long, especially when you are young. 3 years is a more typical dating phase prior to a marriage proposal. You don't know her. You didn't know she would be upset by what you did. You didn't know that she wouldn't even consider marriage. You don't know her. You know what you want, but you don't know her.
I love that.
That summed it up pretty well.
That's well said. That's well said. And again, I think the focus here is just that he, and again, he said it at the beginning that English is his second language. So he, I think, is operating under some beliefs, some traditions and rituals that maybe he grew up watching. And he was like, oh, like, you know, again, a very outdated tradition in lots of places, but a lot of places still believe that right out of college, a woman is supposed to get married. Right. So he might be thinking in a completely different way than all of us. Like, oh, time is ticking. She's almost done with school. Like, I got to do this quick. Like, he might just be operating under that other timeline. But again, it's still not an excuse for being like, but this was my plan.
Yeah.
Like, it clearly wasn't a well thought out one.
No. Yeah. He doesn't, he clearly doesn't think that his girlfriend does or should have any plans herself.
No.
His life.
His agency.
She needs to.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, she's hot.
But
she's hot.
She's hot.
But she's hot
for me.
She's great.
But she's hot.
But she's hot.
Wow. So yeah, he's probably already broken up with and does not realize it. That seems pretty clear to me.
Oh no, yeah.
Maybe there's a world where they talked it out and she's like.
And she said, "See you in 10 years."
She said, "See you in 10 years."
Ask Daddy in 10.
I feel like the talking that out would end up in a breakup anyways. So
yeah,
that's fair.
Our next story: Toupee Exposé.
Ooh.
I, a 23-year-old woman, have come to find out that my boyfriend, who's 26, wears a toupee and hasn't told me. Oh, oh no. Oh no.
It obviously is a really good toupee.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's a great one.
Need help figuring out how to react. Changed ages slightly to stay anonymous. I recently have come to the conclusion that my boyfriend is wearing a toupee and hasn't told me about it. I started finding hair that was clearly fake around the house and felt his hair for the first time. He usually shies away from letting me touch it, and it was clearly a wig. As a black woman, I'm very familiar with what fake hair feels like, and he is definitely wearing a toupee.
Oh, no.
In addition, he only takes baths around me, with the exception of a single shower where he came out with dry hair. I've also only been to his house once, and the bathroom looked like it had been cleaned up specifically because before I got there. I've talked about my fake hair with him before, and he's never even looked like he's considered telling me about his. It feels like a breach of trust after knowing each other for so many months that he can't just tell me. How should I approach this? Edit, for those wondering, the problem isn't that he wears a toupee, it's that he won't talk about it or acknowledge it, despite how open I've been about my fake hair with him. Oh no. I think I feel bad, but why it's a little funny to me is that I'm like, as a guy, like, it's okay to be bald. Like, I mean, it's okay for anyone to be bald, but like, societally, it's not even like a thing. I feel like he's a late 20s man. There's tons of bald dudes out there.
Yeah.
But now I'm picturing just a very, I'm laughing because I'm picturing a wig that is very clearly fake.
So obviously fake.
Like just a wig that does not match the guy, like an emo
It's
wig.
backwards.
Like it's not just like, babe, what's wrong? Sorry.
And the day before it was like a full afro.
It's different every day. It's a completely new haircut. He's just like, yeah, my hair is crazy. Sorry, it's humid today, so that's why my hair is down to my waist.
I have a friend actually who, just walk with me. So one day I get a text message from one of my friends. It's a link of a viral YouTube video, right? And one of my friends who was balding actually got a man, like a wig, like a lace front. The video had like 5 million views in such a short amount of time. And like, it looks really, really good. It looked good, and we all knew it was fake, but it got to the point where he left it on too long. And he tried to dye it.
No!
He tried to dye it.
You gotta take the wig off.
Yes, he tried to dye it. And one of my friends said, hey man, I think it's time to let it go. But it's like, it looked really good, and I supported it from a distance. I never seen it in person, but like from what it looked like, the video probably has like 20 million views now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
And different friends reached out to say, hey man, you see so-and-so in this suit video? I'm like, yeah, I seen it.
My cousin has, I'm not trying to call out my cousin, but the other side of my family has early baldness, and it is something where I think, and there's many reasons that people bald early, like one is obviously just genetics or hormones or something, but also like you can have alopecia or like other, so I think like it is a legitimate thing, like a real insecurity that people have, and like obviously it's not one that I've had to deal with, but I do think that it is funny for me, because the juxtaposition in my mind is your partner is someone that you should hopefully be as open as possible with, and then also your partner is a black woman who is very openly telling you that like she has experience with it, she also has them, and she's aware of it, so it's just funny to be like, no, not at all, and like you're talking to the expert here.
They're missing an opportunity to go wig shopping together.
Whoa.
See, that's the problem, but I wish she would reach out to him.
Because she could actually teach him some techniques.
She should just say, I know it's fake.
No, because he's probably got good glue.
That would hurt.
I think I feel bad for him. I mean, I do feel bad for him because the only thing worse than like having an insecurity is desperately trying to like hide it, and that's such a struggle day in and day out for people, and I'm sure it would be so freeing for him to know that she's like, hey, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like it affects how she views him, and so for him to be able to like not worry about that would probably be so great for him. But I feel bad for him that he's trying so hard to not even let your partner be able to like touch your face or hair. He's gonna eventually have to tell her.
Yeah, eventually. But like my thing is, what else he got to hide? You know,
yeah.
He's hiding way more than that.
What is he hiding under the toupee? That's what it is. The toupee's up front.
Some comments here. I think it is hilarious that someone who wears wigs considers his toupee a breach of trust. OP, it's not that he wears them, it's that he isn't vulnerable to talk about it, which had 25 downvotes.
Oh.
I get that it's like it's up to him and it's his journey to like, but I understand the position also that she's in where she can obviously tell, but she can't call him out on it, and that's. But I think, going back, the thing is she's just trying to tell him like, hey, I'm attracted to you regardless of that. So, but I get that it's tough.
Yeah, it is, and obviously, because like we don't deal with it, because like I know a lot of people, especially growing up, like people get in accidents and they might like lose teeth. Like I know many kids where like you would have no idea until they show you, you know them for 2 or 3 years and they'll pop out like 4 teeth that are in different spots and you don't know that it's like, really, and I can understand how it's unfortunate that the way that you look, you get treated certain ways that you don't have control over, so I can understand why you would want to present a certain way or like avoid attention. But I do think that it's not fully communicated. I think in the post what OP is trying to say, or at least how I am interpreting it.
That's true.
You know, she wants to say, I think it's weird that he can't be vulnerable with his partner when I'm trying to give him the space to open up. And I think that it's getting a little clouded in her trying to tell him what he needs to do.
That's true. She's just like, hey, I want to establish trust in this relationship.
Yeah.
I get that, because it is tough when you know your partner's not telling you something.
Yeah.
But they seem that they're early on in their relationship, I think. So my take is just that this guy will feel better once he is honest with his partner.
Yeah.
He will feel better, because he'll be like, oh, I don't have to hide this. It reminds, I like to my own personal take is like I used to wear lifts in my shoes and it didn't do much. It added like an inch of height. But
You did?
Yeah.
Bro, when he said that to me, I had no idea.
What?
Yeah,
Well, they weren't like
together.
massive. They weren't like crazy. It was like an inch.
I had no idea.
But that was forever ago. I stopped wearing them pretty early on when I got here, and I felt so much better.
Yeah.
I felt better to just be like, yeah, I'm short.
Yeah.
And okay. And then I don't know, that you can't really love yourself until you really like accept it. Some other comments here. I wouldn't call it a breach of trust. It sounds more like he may not trust you enough yet to admit something so personal. If he had a weird toe but always used socks, you wouldn't find it so strange, I guess. Some men are very insecure about balding and feel less of a man for it. Some attempt treatments, implants, and the like. I'm thinking the toupee may have been a last resort after all else failed. Whatever you say, be kind and reassuring, as it will likely be exposing a very big insecurity of his. On the bright side, it will uncover, how he reacts when faced with his insecurities.
That's a good comment.
That's beautiful. I like that.
I think that comment was great, and it's something for me. Like, I don't experience baldness, and it is something that I think, you know, a lot of people are insecure, like they said, and it makes them feel less of a man. And that sucks. That really sucks.
It does suck.
It also is crazy to me. Some people choose to be bald because they think they look better with, like, you know?
See, what's funny is, like, they talk about, like, they're less of a man. I only attribute baldness to, like,
really manly
action
people.
heroes.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, The Rock. Like, I don't know. In fairness to him, fake hair on women is seen as a lot more socially acceptable. I'd be a bit bummed that he didn't feel like he could tell me. Would maybe consider it like a yellow flag, but it wouldn't be a gigantic deal to me. Someone said, bald guy and not sure what to tell you, but I long for a day where dudes wearing wigs is acceptable. I want to Fabio my shit up without getting laughed out of every room of people I know. That is a true, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. It is strange how it is seen in a certain way.
Yeah.
That's like almost everything now. I feel like a lot of the norms are being like washed away,
That's what's
which
good.
I appreciate, you know?
Because it does suck to try to put people in a status quo based on how they want to present and based on your history with them. Because like if you're friends with someone, you know, you give them leeway in order to express themselves. But if like all of a sudden your boss wants to show up with a Fabio wig, all of a sudden like that's going to make them treat you different or vice versa. It kind of sucks, you know?
Yeah, that's so true.
Like in a professional space, that's probably why he doesn't want to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it comes back to the thing that I feel like we get from a lot of Reddit stories, which is just like someone's body is their business. And what they want to do, and like maybe it's not even about like that he's insecure about being bald. Maybe he just truly likes doing that. And it's,
That's
like,
true.
it's
We
fine
didn't even
too.
say that. Like he might just actually like how it looks.
It sounds like things could be really good if there's honest communication here.
More time to spend together. Hey, babe, do you like my wig? What do you think about this one? How about this one? You know, that'd be cool.
I mean, my girlfriend colors my hair because she can't do it to her own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on. Today I up by telling a student I'd bang his dad.
Hell yeah.
That's not up. That's awesome. I was teaching 8th graders. Ages 13 to 14 earlier today. A small group started to freestyle rap during the class, and it was, well, quite something. Suddenly, almost half the class were gathered around one table trying to rap something. I went there and rapped a few sentences just for fun, and the students were flabbergasted that a teacher would do something like that with them. I was bad, of course. I can't rap at all, but they seemed to be in awe, which was funny. They tried to get earlier rappers to battle with me, but no one dared. Not because of my rapping skills, but because I'm the teacher after all. Well, I thought I'd throw in something anyway. One student had earlier told me not to call him endearing, and I had apologized. Now I poked at him by rapping about calling him dear. He poked back, saying something about my salary. And I said, I'll go and bang your dad.
Oh my God.
Because it rhymed in our language. The student was offended while others laughed. At the end of the class, he came to me and said, give me 20 euros or he'll tell the principal I said the thing. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll own up to my mistake. We can go right now. He huffed and said he'd prefer the money. I laughed and said, see you next week. I feel like I f***ed up big time and I feel bad for him.
Oh boy.
That kid just completely let his bluff down. Like, dude.
Just wanted 20 euros.
Yeah, but like, she's like, let's go to the principal. He's like, all right, let's go.
I would have asked for
And
more.
then as you're walking up, it's just be like, 40 euros now. If you want to change now.
That teacher is ballsy, I feel like to be willing to go to the principal and admit to that. Because like, I don't know, like maybe it depends on the country you're in, but I feel like a kid in an American school would be like, go to the principal and like not like opposite of sugarcoat it, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what people do in schools, especially if they have like Karen parents, you know, where it's like, this teacher threatened to have sex with my father without consent. Like it can get, I'm like, whoa.
I feel like in the US, this kid's parents would show up and get the teacher fired.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like that's fine. But this teacher was like, yeah, let's go. Like, all right, I don't understand the parameters
he's like, give me 20
of that.
euros, and she's like, give me your dad's phone number.
I mean, this teacher just had to listen to these kids freestyle. They're 14-year-olds.
A lot of punishment.
Yeah.
I would be like, screw it, get me fired.
And they're from Finland, so it's Finland rapping. I've never heard that.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard Finnish rapping.
And the
Finish rapping.
Hey, why don't
can you finish?
Could you guys finish?
Finish rapping? Then the big question on everyone's minds is the dad hot?
Is the dad hot?
Is dad hot?
I don't know.
More importantly, is the teacher hot?
That's also a good question. Someone said, TIFU, today I flowed unmercifully.
Okay.
Someone said, your only option now is to bang that kid's dad. Unfortunately, gotta own up to it. That got 48 upvotes. Someone said, can I ask if you remember what the rhyme went like and in what language? I'd like to get a sense of the flow.
Yeah.
OP responded, it was in Finnish, translated literally to him saying, you don't make money with your bad work check. And me saying, okay, but I'll go and bang your dad. Ha ha ha, yeah, I guess I'll be fine. Might go and tell the principal myself. That had 199 upvotes.
Wow.
I never witnessed my teachers trying to be cool when I was in middle school. They were all pretty...
Yeah, I don't feel like I experienced teachers that were trying. It was like they either were or they weren't.
I was just about to say, they either were cool or they were not cool.
Yeah,
I would say the coolest teacher we had was our science teacher, but he wasn't like a cool guy, and he wasn't trying to be. He just was really into teaching science, and his whole thing was like, hey, we're not going to use textbooks. We're going to do experiments in this class. I'm going to show you cool stuff.
That's awesome.
And everyone was just like, hell yeah. You knew when you were going to that class that cool stuff was going to happen. And so he just fully embraced being a teacher and the subject matter, and that made him cool as opposed to trying to like fit in with 14. You're also never going to succeed at that. You're never going to impress a group of 14-year-olds.
My science teacher was like, would teach it like he was a villain in a movie, explaining how he was going to blow up the planet, like talking about like gravitational force, how it was like enough to freaking blast a hole through a rock, and it was like kind of scary. But then my math teacher had a whole, like in algebra, had a whole like quarter-long unit called math basketball, and basically taught us stats and stuff with basketball.
Oh yeah, my history teacher, he was like, he showed us the JFK assassination video, and then he was like, the government's hiding stuff.
My Spanish teacher did that.
He was like, yeah, and I loved it. We were all like, that's dope.
Insane.
I can't believe I'm so glad I'm not alone in that. Okay.
Yeah, and all of us were like,
yeah, sometimes on a day where nobody wanted to learn, we would ask our Spanish teacher about it a little bit, and then he would take the whole class to talk about it instead of actually teach us.
And did you all know that would happen?
Yes.
So you're like, okay.
Well, we hoped.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So we had a lot of cool teachers.
Yeah.
Cool teachers.
There's a little update.
Ooh.
I talked with the principal, and we both agreed I f***ed up. But now I have learned my lesson. Will never happen again, and I'll talk with the student later. The student is a known troublemaker, so the principal wasn't surprised he had tried to extort money from me. Oh well. By the way, I'm not a woman. Doesn't change anything for me. Bang his dad.
TIFYD. Today I f***ed your dad.
A whole subreddit just for that. Okay, here we go. I, 28-year-old woman, refused to sign my marriage license at my wedding to a 28-year-old man, and now I think I should leave him.
What?
Interesting. So she refused to sign a marriage license at the wedding. Okay. It's been 1 month since my wedding with Fred, 28, and I am refusing to sign our marriage license, and now I am honestly considering leaving him. For 6 years, I believed Fred and I were on the same page about what we wanted from one another and our future. We agreed, as in he's made this point as well, we didn't want children, ever. And I made it clear before and during wedding planning that I wasn't changing my last name, ever. He agreed to this. I am an only child, while Fred has 3 brothers. My last name dies with me, while his family's last name will continue on with his 3 brothers, who are all married with children. And with this all considered and points made on these facts, I believe there wasn't an issue because Fred agreed to it. I personally hate the tradition of taking on the husband's last name. In my personal, every right to have opinion, for all you ready to jump on me in the comments, is an archaic tradition that feels more like the transfer of property to a man than a union. And even though I'm never having children, even the thought of someone else's last name being attached to my hypothetical child's, if I do all 9 months of creating it and wrecking my body, just doesn't sit right with me. On top of that, why should I have to change all my registered IDs and documentation just because I'm a woman? It's not fair. So it's our wedding day, and Fred really pushed to have a ceremony in front of everyone where we'd sign our marriage license together. He was first to go, and when it was my turn, he had his hand placed really weirdly on the document. I told him to move his hand. We had an awkward, quiet battle about it, and when he finally did, I saw what he was hiding. It was his job to fill out all the forms for the license since he offered to do that for me, so I had one less thing to worry about. And he went behind my back and purposefully filled it out so I would be taking his last name. Turns out in Florida, you can put your maiden name and the name you are changing it to on the form, and that's what I saw on the license, both names. We were at the clerk together with all of our needed IDs and documentations, and I was so stressed and exhausted I wasn't paying attention, and I trusted him, so I never thought once that in any world I would need to review what he filled out or even review the license when we had it in hand.
So fair.
I refused to make a scene in front of all of our friends and family or fall into the pressure I was under, so I pretended to sign it, and the rest of the night was ruined for me. Everything I thought we agreed to and all my preferences he knew about and thought he respected were destroyed. It was like my world was ending in what should have been the best day of my life. Fred is now a completely different person. He's all about tradition now and how it's his right to have a wife with his last name. How it's embarrassing that his brother's wives didn't make this an issue for them, and how all his friends will give him shit if I don't change it. He keeps saying that it's not that big of a deal and I'm ruining our future. On top of that, he keeps bringing up the child argument, saying we can't both have different last names and they should take mine. We said we didn't want kids. I know it's technically the certificate that changes your last name, but to know this is what he's wanted all along and that he was willing to try and pull one over on me is disgusting. I feel manipulated and heartbroken, and now he's put all the pressure on me to make a decision because time is running out on filing for our marriage certification, and he isn't changing his mind. I feel like I've wasted our guests' time, our and our family's money for the wedding, and now our future together because I let him fool me for 6 years and I never saw this happening to me. I feel like I've wasted my life and I'm backed into a corner with someone I don't even recognize anymore.
Leave him, girly.
That's tough.
Leave him, girly.
I do. My initial take on that is absolutely leave. That is f***ing crazy.
That is,
Leave.
I feel like that one isn't as nuanced at all. Like the only like empathy that I think I'm feeling towards him is that it feels like it was just something that he was like just deeply shoving into himself and just being like, I just need to hold on to it. Like I just need to marry this person and it's gonna be okay, and hopefully her mind will change, or like hopefully something will happen, when it was just like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Like a clear statement of like, that's not happening, this is how our marriage is going. And then it's not even that he like changed his mind and was like, oh, by the way, like actually I do want kids, and now he just tried to sneak it in there.
That's so annoying.
That's
so annoying because it's so different than a conversational ask. This is my want. This is important to me. Can we at least talk about it a little bit?
Because it's so fair to change your mind.
Again,
if you're like, wait.
Circumnavigating. Why are we taking all the way around? Just talk direct to me.
Yeah, but because he thought he wanted to trick her into being with him. He was like, okay, he's like, I want this person, but I also want this person to have kids with me.
Yeah.
So how do I make that happen even if they don't want it? It's
Yeah.
so messed up.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with wanting kids or not wanting kids. But if you're in a relationship with someone and you disagree on that, you both need to be like, hey, maybe we have to go our separate ways.
And she keeps saying we've had these conversations, and I've told him.
She put it in all caps. She's like, we agreed
this is how
on
I
this.
feel.
Yeah. For me,
It sounds like he was just putting shit under the rug.
it's just haunting to me for like to think about that moment too for her when she like saw that, and then like the whole like that she pretended to sign it. Like she is probably just horrified over how that felt on her wedding day.
Well, it's such a betrayal. Here's someone you trust, and then it's like, oh, and their whole relationship, they were just trying to trick her.
And in front of everybody too at their wedding, heartbreaking. And also heartbreaking that she clearly isn't able to walk away just yet.
Not everyone signs their certificate there at the wedding, at the ceremony. But it feels like maybe he wanted that to
give power
trick.
to it.
Yeah, he's a super manipulator.
Yeah, I don't like it one bit. Like,
no, I mean, he lied.
There's one thing about being like, I do believe in traditions or I do like this ritual, but to just lie about it, to manipulate your partner, to try to like make them enter into a marriage on false clauses, I don't like it at all.
You never can trust. Why I think she has no choice but to leave him is she's never going to trust him ever again.
No, how could you?
Oh, yeah.
And it's done. To me, we talked about this on the cheating episode of Reddit Stories, but to me, cheating, the bad part of it is the lying.
Yes.
And to me, a relationship, lying is the most surefire way of killing it.
100%.
Because without trust, there's no communication. Without communication, there's no relationship.
Totally.
And so I don't know what this guy was thinking.
You make a mistake.
And the lying and the omittance of the truth.
Yeah.
People try, don't lie, but you didn't tell me the truth, bitch.
That's exactly it. You can make a mistake, like we all like slip up, but the first moment that you have, the first chance that you have to admit it, you should. And if you don't, that trust is just continuing to become a bigger gap for you and that person.
Yeah. And I mean, and now suddenly out of nowhere, he's absolutely certain about how he feels. It's not even a matter of like, oh, I didn't know and now I changed my mind. It's like, no, he was always certain.
Bye.
That guy is a nightmare.
Bye. Bye.
Some comments here. Verdict. I don't know. It's clear.
Sure.
I kind of want to hear him get dragged.
This is relationship advice, so it's not an am I the asshole situation, but it's clear who's the asshole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some comments. Even aside from all the relationship stuff, this guy tried to trick you into signing a document that you were very clear you didn't agree to.
Right.
It sounds like he's showing his true colors. I'm so proud of you for standing up for your principles and not going along with his shitty misogynistic plan. OP said, but how do you move on from this? What do I tell my family, his family, all my friends who spent so much money to come to my wedding and be in it? I have never felt so much pressure and stress and fucking sadness ever. Wasting all of this just because I don't want to change my last name is just becoming more and more ludicrous to me, but I can't bring myself to abandon my wants for his.
That's so true. I also had that thought, like she's setting these own, like it's important to her and she's built that up in her head, but now it's like, oh, like maybe I would have had some leeway room on this if we would have talked about it before.
Totally.
So it sucks, 'cause she sounds like she knows like it's not as important. Like she's saying it's important.
Sure, but she has no choice.
No,
it's not about the name change now.
Absolutely
it's
not.
just
They didn't even give it a chance.
And
to,
it
like,
sounds
work it
like in the
out.
way that she's writing that she would have been open to conversations about it.
Totally.
No, I mean, if I was talking to her and she was saying this, I'm like, yeah, things are gonna suck.
Yeah,
things are gonna suck. But you have no choice.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
now.
No choice. Things are gonna suck.
Yeah.
Tell your truth. Be honest.
Yeah.
And if your family is not on your side, them. Like, but everyone's gonna agree. Someone said, honestly, I am not sure why either of you got married. You both sound like you have radically different values. If you leave him, it doesn't sound like either of you are losing strictly based on this thread. OP responded, I thought we had the same values and came to an agreement, and then he suddenly just switches on me.
Yeah.
He said he didn't think I actually was serious and that I would just change my mind eventually.
There you go.
Holy crap.
He was just pretending
That's
to be
rough.
somebody else, and he was like, it'll be fine. It's going to be fine. And then when the wedding day came and she still hadn't changed her mind, he was like, oh, well, good thing I have this fake
here we go.
document that
Good thing
she's
I'll
not
just
going to know, and I'm going to cover it up with my hand.
Commit a fucking crime. To respond to your other comment, OP, this is exactly what you tell people when they ask what happened. You thought the two of you had the same values and came to an agreement, but suddenly he changed his mind. Instead of addressing it, he chose to lie and attempt to manipulate you to get his way. And that was at the very inception of your marriage, beyond disgraceful. Lastly, someone commented we got a big conversation here.
Okay.
And this is how abusive marriages start. Not openly and violently, but with small incremental changes to who you thought you were with. Slowly, the real him comes out into the open once you find yourself with every reducing options. Please do not let the sunk cost fallacy entrap you even further in this, because sticking with it will have you leading a life that you do not want.
Yeah.
But by then, it will be
Huge.
too late and even harder to leave. This is, after all, how many abusive marriages start off. OP responded, I know. I just don't know how someone can keep face for 6 years without cracking, and
Right.
how I didn't pick up on it. He always seems so sincere, but looking back on it now, I'm wondering if when I said, I'm not changing my last name, his agreement was the same as appeasing a child. Like, of course you can. After reading a lot of what y'all have to say, I'm just starting to get fucking furious. I feel like he's fizzled me down to an idea, not a person. I'm angry he thought I'm stupid enough to fall for this shit, that he tried using public humiliation to coerce me, and weak enough to let him steamroll me. I'm not a stupid person. I like to think I've got a good head on my shoulders, so I'm angry I even let this happen. And I know everyone is saying, leave, this is abusive. And I don't disagree, but I cannot explain to any of you the fucking weight I have on my shoulders. I know I shouldn't care what anyone else thinks and should put myself first, but this is the most weighted decision I've ever had to make, and it's fucking hard. It's really, really hard. I know all of this, and I still can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That is so
It's
sad.
very sad, but it's like you don't get married because of the because, oh, I don't want to upset my family.
Yeah.
Like that's.
But, I mean, I think also though, you know, like, right, we read that and we're like, get out, right?
It's easy
like
for
leave.
us.
But yeah, like again, we also have to remember that she has inside of those 6 years so many good memories with this man, and she's like, maybe that wasn't him, and maybe that's really him, and maybe he's going through something. Like leaving somebody is way harder, even if it's like something drastic like this or cheating. Like it's so easy to just forgive and be like, it's gonna be okay. Like I just believe in this person.
It's such a Band-Aid that you can slap on.
So hard.
I understand that it's truly a nightmare situation for her. I would feel the exact same way, but and I think she knows what she has to do. I hope she does the right thing, because yes, it's about to be really shitty. It's about to be super awkward and unfortunate, but that's not her fault. If she does get married, it's so much worse. She's now marrying someone that she already has hate for, and like who he doesn't respect her.
Yeah, she should bring him back. She should change all of his names to her name.
There you go. The sunk cost fallacy is a great one to bring up here, because they've been dating for 6 years, so most all of her 20s. And even according to biological clock, especially nowadays, she's not in a bad, she's 28. It's not like,
at all.
Fine.
Not even close.
you're not, but she seems to know who she is and what she wants out of life.
Yeah.
And she knows this isn't it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that it was from relationship advice too, and I was like, I hope nobody's calling her the asshole.
Yeah, no, he's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's a bad guy.
Definitely, yeah. Bad men.
Today I f***ed up by accidentally ordering my nudes to my very nosy parents' house. So basically, my boyfriend's birthday is in a few days, so I was going to make him a photo album of my spicy / not safe for work pictures, mostly me in bra and panties, and my boobs, no vagina pics. Well,
Man. Sorry.
what am I looking at here?
Hey, honey, I think I opened the time capsule.
Oh my God.
Well, I recently moved out of my parents' house and I haven't changed the address on my Google account. When I placed the order a few hours ago, I completely forgot to change the address. I went to bed, and as I was falling asleep, I was jolted awake by the thought, holy shit, I don't think I changed the delivery address for the photos. I checked, and sure enough, I didn't. I ordered from Google Photos, and you can't cancel the order or change the address if it's been more than 2 hours since you placed it. It's been about 5 already. I'm so effed because my mom is very nosy and always goes through my mail and packages. Literally, whenever I order stuff, if I don't get to the mailbox first thing in the morning, she opens it and then brings it to me. I've asked her to please stop.
My mother is Lassie.
Yeah. I've asked her to please stop doing this so many times, but she never listens and always makes up some BS excuse. Now, since I'm living in a different state, there's no way I'll be able to get to it before her. So yeah, if I call her and ask her to send the package to me, she's going to open it and see my nudes. If I ask her to please not open it because my nudes are in it, she's going to scream at me for taking nudes. She's paranoid of Apple and Google and all other big tech companies and sees them as evil. And start ranting about how Google is probably going to upload my photos to sites and send them to my college and work and ruin my life or something along those lines. She'll probably also tell my dad, and I really don't need him to find another reason to be disappointed in me, LMAO. Okay, so that's a tricky situation.
Is her face in some of the pictures?
I imagine, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because like, yeah, mostly me in a bra and panties and my boobs. So and these are like, she made a photo album for her boyfriend, so I would imagine.
Yeah.
But were they done tastefully? Because, you know,
I think so. It sounds like, I mean, this is not just taking it on your phone. She like.
Oh, she did it professionally then. I can get with that.
I would imagine.
I can get with
cool.
That. That's cool, right?
That's great in a relationship. Do whatever you want to do.
But now look, you don't want to have a picture sent to your parents' house with your legs like open.
Like, and you're in another state.
Dude. Hey, Mom. Like, see, like, but if it's done tastefully, that's like the good end of the, you know?
Yeah. Some comments. I'm sorry, maybe the hard way to learn not to open the mail for someone else. Opie responded, yeah, but I don't know if it's gonna be worth all the fallout I'm about to get from it. Our relationship is already a bit rocky at the moment, and she's super against nudes / sex. If she knows I take nudes of myself, she's going to kill me.
How the the hell did she
Wait.
get here? She's against sex?
She's against sex.
So how, okay.
She's like, your father and I don't even know how you were made.
Yeah. No, that's why she's against it. She's like, we had it was great, but I didn't know you were coming. Don't.
You were
I'm
the
against
result.
it now. Never again.
Another comment. When she receives them and opens them, inevitably she will tell you how disappointed in you she is. Remind her that opening someone else's mail is a federal offense, and taking nudes for your boyfriend is not any sort of crime. OP responded, true, this might be the best option.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the only option. You don't enter a bathroom if the door's closed. You don't just open that door. If you do, you're liable to see someone pooping.
Yeah.
Don't open my mail.
Which I could sue you for, right?
It depends how bad it smells in there. I might sue you.
Someone said, tell her it's a present for her for Christmas, and she shouldn't open it, and she will spoil the surprise, or she'll spoil the surprise. Someone said, until her curiosity gets the best of her and she opens it and becomes very confused.
Yeah.
Opie responded, oh my God, she's literally opened Xmas and B-Day presents in the past that I ordered for her, told her not to open specifically because they were supposed to be a surprise for her, and she still opened them. Man, I don't think there's any way of her getting out of this.
No, I think you have to call and just tell her, like, hey, I'm in another state. Like, you know, you're going to get a package. I know you're going to open it, and I need you to fax those over.
Right, truly.
Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm either, there's a package, mail it to me, don't open it. If you open it, I'm going to need those pictures still. Yeah. And that's about it.
And then I will be pressing charges.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
We're about to find out because there's an update.
Oh, God.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for all the suggestions and feedback on my last post. I took many people's advice and emailed both Google and FedEx. I just got an email back from Google saying that they had gotten my address change request and they changed it, thank God. The problem is that FedEx hasn't gotten back to me yet about the address change. However, they did just send me an email with the tracking number. It's concerning me a bit because it says the photos are in transit and it still has my parents' address listed. I'm really hoping that Google did actually change the address in time and that there was no miscommunication. Hopefully FedEx just hasn't updated yet or something. I guess right now all I can really do is wait and see what happens. I'll post an update in a couple days when hopefully I get my photos and not my parents, if anyone still cares. Update number 2.
Care.
Update number 2. Hey everyone, I just want to thank y'all again for all this advice and support, as well as all the smart and creative things people came up with to explain/rationalize the situation to my parents in case the address change didn't update in time and they got the photos. I guess I won't have to use any of it though because I just checked my mail and the photos are here.
Oh, glory to God.
Boobies are safe.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry to disappoint some of y'all. I know it's not the most dramatic or exciting ending, but God am I relieved it turned out this way. Yeah. I'm excited to finally give my boyfriend his now belated birthday gift. Unfortunately, the surprise was ruined. He already knows about the photos because he saw how stressed out I've been the last few days and asked about it, so I had to tell him. He loved the gift idea and has been amazing about the whole situation, helping me contact FedEx and supporting and comforting me about the possibility of my parents getting the photos instead. He joked that for my birthday, he's going to get me a colored photo printer so I can print more photos for him and not have to stress about it again.
Okay, this might be controversial.
Oh God.
It might be controversial.
Oh God.
Guys,
you looked at both of us, so
I did.
it is.
I'm just gonna say it. This is my opinion, and my opinion is a straight male. I think women aesthetically beautiful. I think all women are aesthetically beautiful. Men, I find more difficult to even imagine myself doing like a photo shoot like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can't, and it might be my own self-consciousness, but I also just don't think, and obviously I'm a straight man, so I'm not, it doesn't feel like art, if that makes sense. I don't know, when I think of like a woman doing that, in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's like a pretty vase, or it's like,
yeah,
you know, it's like a painting. When I think of like me doing that, I'm like, what is this like crooked man? Like, who's this goblin?
What kind of poses would you do?
I think I would probably put the camera on the ground, and I'd probably do something like, you know, like,
but would you do it booty naked and your balls are dropping?
Maybe backwards,
from the back?
Right?
Maybe looking straight up.
Yeah, and I have a mirror on my ceiling too, so I'd make sure that
you could see your face and you're looking up.
And I look up, and then I'm gonna put a little Waldo somewhere.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, that's fun.
So it's a game.
Well, see, then if it's a Where's Waldo situation, that's really fun.
Well, Waldo's in my ass.
Okay. Just the feet dangling. I could see a lot of women appreciating this from their boyfriends or husbands, but not because they're like, oh, hell yeah, but more because it's like, wow, that's a very vulnerable thing that you did. But I don't know. I feel like I never hear, like when girlfriends are talking about their boyfriends, it's just a different thing. I don't know. They're never like, oh yeah, I love looking at his penis. Like you never hear.
Dude, I love.
You never hear women say that. Like, I think guys are just maybe more visual. Like, and they, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
I don't know. I think there's probably lots of couples where they both would appreciate it for each other.
A narcissistic couple.
What?
When they take pictures of themselves and then send it to themselves.
To themselves?
And then look at them like.
For my birthday, I sent myself a photo album of my ass. It's great.
Wide open.
And I accidentally sent it to my parents.
Today I f***ed up by repeatedly shooting my boss in the head. Okay, I'm assuming they're not confessing to murder, so we'll see what this actual context is.
Okay, David Dobrik ass clickbait.
This happened a few days ago. Went paintballing with my office colleagues as an end-of-year celebration. In a game, I ran to the edge of the arena hoping to flank the other team. 2 people on the other team had the same idea, and we found ourselves in a standoff behind some wooden cover. I shot the first person quickly, and they called their hit and went away. It was then between me and one other guy. I'm going to call him Dave. Instead of wearing a full helmet, Dave wore only a mask which left the rear and the top side of his head uncovered. Unluckily for him, the top of his head was visible to me through a slit in his wooden cover. I considered for a moment what to do. Do I shoot him in the head and cause immense pain and agony, or do I wait for a shot against a more protected part of his body? In the end, I thought I only need to shoot him once for him and I to be on our way, and by wearing a mask and not a helmet, he knew full well that what could happen. So I steadied my aim and shot him through the gap in the wood, clean onto the top of his head. I heard him scream, "Ah, you bastard!" But he didn't call the hit. He didn't even move from his position. So I shouted, "Call your hit!" But he didn't respond. I am sure he heard me because I saw his head turn slightly when I spoke, but he didn't call his hit. So I shot him again, and again, and again, in the exact same spot on the top of his head. With each shot, he let out a grunt, but did not call his hit. It was kind of satisfying, actually, seeing the paintballs explode on the top of his head. At this point, his head is a yellow/red paintballing mess, but yet he still does not call his hit. Eventually, a marshal comes nearby, and I tell him that Dave did not call his hit, but as you can see, he is covered in paint. The marshal tells me to shoot him once more so he can see it for himself. So right through that same slit in the wood, I shoot him in the exact same spot on the top of his head. He doesn't call his hit, and the marshal pulls him out and escorts him away. I then see him after the game, crying his eyes out, holding a bag of frozen peas against his head, and walking toward the car park. Turns out it was my line manager, my boss. I'm not sure whether to tell him it was me that shot him after the Christmas holidays. Dude, what the f is this guy thinking though? Like, you're not gonna call a hit, you're getting shot repeatedly, and you're not gonna move?
Was that their first time playing paintball together?
I'm assuming.
Because maybe this boss didn't know the rules and understand.
They, at paintballing courses, usually pretty explicitly, like almost annoyingly so, explain the rules. In my experience, because I've gone a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one of the first times I went paintballing this is forever ago. It's one of the first times out here in LA. I became friends, I'm not gonna say who, I became friends with someone who was on Malcolm in the Middle, and I got invited to go to like their season wrap like paintballing match.
Damn.
I don't recall who all was there, but it was a bunch of crew and cast from Malcolm in the Middle. And I, at one point, was like stuck up in a corner in this like room, and suddenly a guy appeared at the doorway, and I just kind of looked at him, and I was like, oh, and then he shoots me square in the balls. And I was like, I'm out.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
I mean, we've experienced paintball. I've experienced it on Smosh Games stuff. It's
There that day.
You did it too? Did
Yeah,
you
that's when I
fight?
was filling in for Olivia.
That's
right.
So we've all experienced
We all did
paintballing.
Yeah.
It's fun. I've gone a lot.
The first time I did it, like I cried because the pain was so shocking. Also, they like cornered me and it was kind of brutal and it made me scared. But like, I can't imagine on bare skin and your head.
Where there's like no juice
if
in
you
the
get
middle.
shot, if you get shot, it's almost like a reflex for me to be like, I'm it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you got me. Like,
and it's scary, like to be hit So it's so funny that the boss was like crying after I cried. So like I relate, but like, why did you like this guy must have been shot in the head 5 times.
I just don't know. He's being a bad sport though by not like acknowledging it.
Yeah, and like
it's so men.
it is
Such
so
a man thing. So men.
I don't know. Yeah, it does hurt, but I don't know.
it stings.
I got shot. I luckily it hit my mask, but I did once get hit in the forehead.
On that dome?
On that freaking dome. It's a big
and then
target.
you started to remember.
And then I was like, portal, like, whoa! There's an edit here, so let's see what other info. To those of you worried that I did serious damage to him, he is mostly fine, I think. That's
it? That's the whole edit?
That's not the whole edit. But that's not the response. To those who are concerned, I don't know if he's okay. He has a sore head and was quite embarrassed from crying in front of his staff. It was your basic rent to the public paintball gun that did not possess any real dangerous power behind it. Though getting shot in the exact same spot over and over probably increased the pain quite a bit.
Why didn't he even move even? That's
what I'm kind of shocked. He's just there just like, Now, some have said he will recognize my voice. I didn't think about that. I am sure my voice from within a paintball helmet at a distance from behind some cover was still heard, but probably not super recognizable given the circumstances. I don't think he really got a good look at me either, so I think I'm in the clear. To be sure, I just checked my calendar for the coming work week and saw my boss has scheduled a meeting for everyone that attended the paintball event. Ooh. Depending on how that goes, I may post a further update for the near future.
Oh my God, I hope there is one.
So in the comments, someone said, I'm assuming he was new to paintball and didn't know he had to call it. OP responded, we were all told the rules at the start, and he also saw his teammate get shot and call their hit. So he knew that hit calling was a thing. Perhaps he thought that headshots didn't count or something, LOL, plus 6,000 upvotes. No, the whole idea of a game of paintball is like, hey, if you get shot, you're probably out.
Right.
No, this guy was a sore sport. And he has a sore head.
Sore head and crying? Sounds like my Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh!
How's your head? Sore.
Sore.
Someone else said, I really like how the ref was like, you know, one more time to prove it. Dude already had paint all over his head, and ref just wanted to see his pain. Someone said, hang on, you shot him several times in the top of the head, and he never once moved or ducked away from that spot. I've seen plenty of idiots in paintball, but never anything like that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, you move.
What? I don't know. Like, maybe he couldn't figure out what to do next, but you simply lie down.
That man is having like a D-Day moment.
Like,
He just starts like, that guy is freaking out.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine having a weapon in your hand.
Yeah, he didn't even shoot back. Like what?
Yeah, didn't even like wherever that crack was, stick your gun through the crack, like do something. My guy.
I would do something. Someone said, it's better for the both of you if he doesn't find out. OP responded, I agree. I need to practice my, oh my God, I can't believe that happened face if he brings it up in the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, because nobody saw except for the marshal.
Yeah, he just has to make sure to not say, call your hit or whatever, the thing that he shouted.
Yeah. Call your hit.
In a lineup.
No, the boss comes, he's like, I want all
everyone
of you
to say it.
Yeah.
Say this phrase.
Like, what is that meeting gonna be? I wish we could be in that room.
He's just at his cubicle one day and just gets shot with a paintball. Update.
Yeah!
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Almost 2 weeks ago, I repeatedly shot my boss in the head at a paintball event with some colleagues from work. Last week, I noticed my boss scheduled a meeting for everyone that went paintballing that day. Today was that meeting. I was anxious all day and barely got any work done. I kept reading comments back to myself about how he is going to recognize my voice, or that he had a mental breakdown of some kind, and that I irresponsibly failed to notice before shooting another 4 paintballs straight at his head. It didn't help that people in the office were talking about how our line manager cried at paintballing. All I added, God damn, that's so rough.
That's gonna be talked about for like 8 years.
I'm unfortunately picturing like 5-year-old crying. I'm picturing just like, ah!
he said crying his eyes out.
Like with an ice cream cone, like someone bought him an ice cream, he's just like,
down his head.
and the visual of a frozen bag of peas.
How did they have a frozen bag of peas at a paintball course?
They probably needed a few frozen bags of peas for.
It didn't help that people in the office were talking about how our line manager cried at paintballing. All I added to the conversation were lines like, oh yeah, I saw that after the game, what happened? And wow, that's crazy. It became clear that nobody really knew what happened. Most people thought that he fell and banged his head really bad or something. Everyone knew he cried, even people that didn't go paintballing, but nobody actually knew what happened. Only I knew he didn't hit his head. He just took the same shot over and over to the exact same spot. He didn't call his hit and then cried afterwards. That's all that happened. Once we sat and settled in the conference room, the boss made it clear that he didn't want anyone in the office discussing out-of-work activities during working hours. Word must have gotten around that his crying was a topic of conversation. He said he is fine, nothing serious, and then said something that took every inch of my composure not to react. I don't know if I can quote him word for word, but he said something like this. I raised my hand and was running back to base, and that's when I slipped in the mud and hit my head against a barrel. When he said those words, I felt like it was a Mexican standoff. He glanced around the room, looking for a reaction, but I didn't give him one. Internally, though, I was like, what in the actual f*** are you on about? I literally watched the paintballs one by one splat off the top of your head over and over before you got walked out of the game by a marshal. Also, it was the top of your head that was sore. Now, unless you dived like a dolphin into that barrel head first, I don't see how that part of your body would get injured if you actually slipped and hit something. Externally, though, my face tried to mirror the rest of the room and was a mixture of compassion and surprise. Shout out to all of you that commented that I should practice the shocked Pikachu face. That was literally what I went for. He still doesn't know who did it. Everyone else believes his story. I'm not sure whether I should let it go or call him out on it. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Your boss is literally Michael Scott. That's
so funny. You already won. You shot him in the head like 7 times, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You know, and he knows someone knows. And that's going to be with both of you for the rest of your lives.
Did nobody else see him getting walked out by a marshal with a ton of paint on the top of his head?
Apparently not, if he thinks he can sell that story.
I just think people are just like, whatever.
They're like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, dude. That's so funny.
They're like, cool, can we talk about the raise that we were supposed to get?
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't cry. I didn't cry at all.
I didn't cry. It's unfortunately very coded in that.
It is very.
People are saying that I tripped.
That's insane.
Wow.
Oh my God. And maybe one day when either that manager's gone or like you're out with drinking with some buddies that we work with, you could tell that story and then keep it on the DL, but you do not need that leg up on the boss. Don't.
Make your workspace easy to be in. Let it go.
I just feel like inevitably though, they're gonna have like a Breaking Bad moment where he's gonna be in his office and he's gonna be talking about music and he's like, yeah, do you like the Beatles? He's like, yeah, they've got a lot of great hits. And the boss is gonna be like, what did you say? He's like, they have a lot of great hits. That last word, hit.
What happens when someone takes out their phone and tries to reach you? What is it called? Call?
Am I the asshole if I call off my engagement because of a comment my fiance made about my late wife? For some background info, I, 43-year-old man, have 2 children with my late wife, Kayla, Sam, who's 21, and Liz, who's 16, all fake names. Kayla passed away when our kids were 15 and 10. I won't give specifics about how she passed, but she was struck by a drunk driver when she was on her way home from work.
Whoa.
She really was the love of my life, and to say that her passing hit our family hard would be an understatement. I promised myself that if I got back into the dating game, I wouldn't date anyone for at least a couple of years for the sake of my kids. 3 years after my wife's passing, I met my now fiance. We'll call her Amanda. Things went slow, and I didn't introduce her to my kids until we had been dating for about a year at that point. Now we've been together for 3 years and are engaged. Amanda and my kids have always had a good relationship. Neither of my kids are super close to her, but they have always been friendly and welcoming to her. And Amanda has never overstepped any boundaries my kids have, like trying to replace their mother. At the beginning of Amanda and I's relationship, she was a bit insecure of the fact that I was a widower. During the first few months of us dating, she would constantly ask things like, if Kayla had never passed, would I still be with her right now? I always kept my answers brief and told her that I didn't like thinking about the what ifs and that she was the one I was dating now and that was what mattered.
Yeah.
Eventually, she stopped making these comments and I stopped worrying about it. Now to the issue. My parents were hosting a family dinner to celebrate my fiance and I's engagement. It was my mom and dad, my late wife's sister and her husband, Sam and Liz, and me and Amanda. Dinner was going well. We were all making small talk with each other and talked about wedding plans. About halfway into dinner, my mom made a comment about how she was so happy I was able to find the spark I had with Kayla in someone else. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to the comment, but then Amanda laughed and said, I'm happy she died. Otherwise, I would have never gotten him to myself.
No. Okay.
The tone of the dinner immediately shifted and everyone got extremely tense, especially my kids. Amanda noticed the shift and started awkwardly laughing like she was trying to play her comment off as a joke. I was honestly just frozen as that was the first time she had made a comment like that. My kids looked disgusted and Liz got up and walked out to the car. Sam waited a bit longer like he wanted me to say something, but I was still in shock about what Amanda had said. To make a long story short, the dinner was kind of ruined, so I said my goodbyes to everyone, grabbed my fiance, and we all drove home. My daughter hasn't spoken to me or Amanda since, and it's been 3 days. I got tired of it and pulled my son aside to ask him what I should do. He said something along the lines of, I'm a grown man and don't care who another grown man marries, but I don't want a woman who speaks like that about our mother around my sister. Sam's comment stuck with me, and now I'm considering calling off the engagement entirely. She's never made comments like this before, but I'm worried if I let it slide this one time, it will become more frequent and it will affect my daughter. I need some advice from outside perspectives and just want to do right by my kids. Would I be the asshole if I called off the engagement because of the comment she made?
Early.
I also think it's just really inappropriate. If she hadn't passed, would you still be with her right now? Is a weird.
I see my Gemini ass, nosy ass self. I want to know, not for a bad reason. I just want to know to know.
I guess there's a better way to phrase it.
Like, there is a better way,
do you think you guys would have gone your whole life?
It's like an insecurity thing, you know?
No, it's not.
Well, like
it's a curiosity thing.
Well, sometimes.
It's different.
Sometimes I think it can be insecure.
But with her, do we think it's a curiosity thing? With her,
it doesn't feel like an insecurity thing. It feels like the way he spun it in this, and it feels like a bad time joke.
A real issue is that we don't get to hear how she said
it.
Totally.
And yes, and it just also the
like
reaction. If the reaction from
they're
everyone
not in
is
a place, yeah.
But and like she tried to play it off as a joke. I think you need to, as someone who says jokes,
yeah,
you need to immediately be like, that was the worst thing I could have ever said.
Yes, you need to immediately acknowledge.
I'm so sorry. I'm talking about tone. I'm talking about the questions. The like, would you still be with her?
Yes.
I still I don't know.
I mean, I didn't have too big of a problem with that because I understand that, like, yeah, you might just be like, yeah, sure, you might be wondering, or you might just be like, I don't know, getting a little like meta and being like, what would my life look like if things were different? And sometimes that involves being like, what if, even if it does upset some people, but right, she moved on and she wasn't asking those anymore.
Right.
I think saying that joke, like, yeah, she probably had like a dumb, like just moment where she wasn't thinking and she was just like, oh, this is a joke. However, it's just like, even if you are unconsciously doing that, like, the kids are there.
Yeah.
I just cannot defend, even for a second, like, just, it's just about being a little bit more thoughtful and being more considerate with your words, and to just slip up like that, I don't think should go without some consequences.
An important point to make is that he mentions it's been 3 days, and he does not include any information about her being like, I want to apologize.
Right.
Or any sort of like, taking that back.
Totally.
Which is really bad. Yeah, I mean, look, it was
he needed to address it. He did, even though it's awkward.
Yeah.
He needs to do something, like either diffuse the situation or go have a conversation with her, because everyone in the room obviously felt away, and it felt like the onus
very
was...
obviously felt away. And if she's not aware of how bad that was.
Do you actually feel that? Because you just made a really weird joke.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah. And if
people are getting up and leaving. Like,
right. Yeah. If she's not spending like those 3 days like groveling, like she needs to be working on getting better with the kids. Like I think it goes back to what we were just talking about with trust. Like that trust is just completely broken now with her because how can he trust that she's not going to just say something so evil like that?
It's you know, I think we get caught up sometimes on like, well, does she deserve for them to break up, whatever. I'm like, it's not a matter of deserved or anything of, is this fixable? Like that damage that was...
Is it evil? Is it evil? She's saying, I'm happy that she's dead because I am where I am now.
Because I wouldn't have gotten him to myself. I would have never gotten him to myself.
You know?
It's brutal.
Like, I understand. I could maybe understand her
Everything
saying
needed
like
to happen the way it happened to be where I am now is a nice sentiment to say.
But literally saying, I'm happy she died, like those words together should not have come out of her mouth. The syntax is not
doing it for her.
It's
I think there was another Reddit story that we read where a guy married a widower and she had a couple kids and that was the one where he was going and he would like talk to he would go to the grave of the former dad and like talk to him and kind of like tell him about the kid's life and stuff. It was very sweet because you could tell he had respect for his partner's passed away husband. And I think that's the thing is that I just don't know if she respects.
Feels coveted.
It doesn't feel like that at all.
It doesn't feel like she has. You kind of do have to have respect for that person they lost, and it can't be a matter of like, well, you're not in competition with them.
Yeah, you're
like
not.
Truly at all. Like, and that's I think.
So you're happy
I think that's a weird.
Yeah.
It was saying you're happy someone died in front of all that person's loved ones. I mean, holy crap.
I love that I can still see parts of her in all of you. Oh, what a
There's so many things.
Say.
You could also just not say anything.
Yeah, just literally staying quiet.
You really could just not say anything.
You could.
If I married a widower, I think anytime I'm at a public, like with their families and they're talking about her, I would just be like.
Or the maturity to love her memory in front of them and be like, tell me more story, like I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're all about,
that's
like,
how we're
everything,
all here right now.
Because if you're all about like everything happened, so I'm where I am now, like that includes that. And it's not, I'm happy. It's more like what a loving person who built this community, this family. These like people are now shaped because of who this person was.
Yeah.
And for me, I think, again, this is what I said with the signing of the licenses too. Like I tend to remember the pain that I feel in those moments. And I think in that moment, I would be so devastated to have heard something like that. And I don't think that I don't know if I could get over something like that.
It's also the nature of how she died, like a tragic death.
Yeah.
It's not, it's rough.
Rough.
That is real rough.
And the kids, I don't know if I could really look past that at all.
Let's see some comments here.
Updates?
Some comments. I mean, she could have said something like, it was an unfortunate event for all of you, but I think she was the one who brought us together to be there for each other.
Great.
She could have gone in any other way, but she decided to allow her insecurities be in the way because she knows if Kayla didn't pass, OP wouldn't have been with her. Oh. She has always been competing with a dead woman and will continue to do so. As always with the Reddit stories, we're missing a lot of context.
Yeah.
That is the take that I'm feeling based on the info.
Agreed.
It's like, well, am I better than that person you were with? It's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It truly doesn't matter. And there's no competition. It's a brand new thing.
Right.
It is a different thing.
And I want to say that like, I don't think that insecurity is necessarily like stupid. Like, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, obviously like he lost someone and I think, again, I have empathy for her in that I feel like, sure, maybe you are like, again, wondering these questions, but to bring it out and make that insecurity somehow more powerful than being more thoughtful in a situation about your words, like it just doesn't seem like an even battle right there.
This is exactly a predicament where I'm like, that is something you discuss with a therapist. Because I don't think you should discuss that with him.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing for him to untangle of you going and being like, I'm insecure about your dead wife. It's like, what's he gonna say about it? Talk to a therapist and be like, I'm dealing with insecurities. I can't control my insecurities. Those happen.
Yeah.
But how you go about it is your choice, and she's going about it horribly.
And on the contrary, he is going about it really well, I think. Just the timeline, at least before that he was talking about where, right, he had some space, obviously he like mourned, and then he said he was with her for about a year until he introduced the kids, and then now 3 years later they're getting engaged. Like, I feel like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And he is really timing this out well. He is considering the kids.
And he raised good kids too, because his son was awesome.
Yes, king.
And I think I am the type to react like how he reacted. When someone says something crazy to me or around me, like, I process for a while. Like I think about it, and then so I don't think you should feel bad for not necessarily immediately responding.
Getting upset, yeah.
Someone else said, I'm happy she died would be unforgivable for me, especially knowing my kids heard my fiance say that. Disgusting. I wouldn't be able to not think about that every time I looked at them.
Yeah.
Someone else said, yeah, she's never going to let this go. You can. Your son just told you the deal. It's her or them.
Boom.
Choose wisely. I think that's where he's at. I think where I feel bad for the only thing that I'm feeling is it does suck when you say something stupid and you're like, it's all over because of that one thing. Not a pattern behavior. I said one thing and it's over.
Yeah.
But it's over. Like it is over.
And if that is the case and she didn't, again, if she was unconsciously just like saying things like that, she didn't mean to, she doesn't deserve to be in a situation where she's unconsciously hurting people. Like she should just be placed in better circumstances. This doesn't seem like it's something that can last.
There's an edit here. Wow, I didn't expect this to get much. Wow, I didn't expect to get this much advice so shortly after posting this. Nonetheless, thank you all for the advice and even the people calling me a bad father. I think your guys' words are what I needed to pull my head out of my ass. I will try to talk to my kids alone tonight before speaking with my fiance, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure my fiance and I are over, though. I'll update late tonight or tomorrow on how the talks with everyone goes. Thank you all again for setting my head straight. Okay. Update. This is the next day.
The honeymoon pics.
Yeah, and then like, Cabo's been amazing.
The kids are in college.
Yeah. I promised I would update everyone after I had talked to my kids, so here's the update. It's kind of long, so I hope that doesn't go against the rules of this community. I'm also going to use this update as a way to clarify some of the questions people were asking in the comments. 1, did my fiance apologize to anyone at the dinner party? No, she didn't. I honestly don't think it even registered or has registered to her that what she said was wrong. Okay,
that's a faux pas.
There you go. That is the cement on that.
Nope.
Does fiance have social anxiety? Not to my knowledge, no. In all the time I've known her, she's never shown any signs of social anxiety and doesn't have a history of it. If you have social anxiety, you'd apologize after. You'd be like, 100%. I said something stupid. That was my anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been 3 days and I'm sorry. How old was my late wife? She was 37 when she passed, and we were the same age. Amanda is 41. A lot of people were asking for clarification on the time frame of her passing and when my fiance and I met. At this point in time, Kayla has been gone for about 6 years, and I met Amanda roughly 3 years after Kayla's passing. I didn't mention either of their ages as I didn't believe it was important because we're so close in age, but I understand why a lot of you guys would want to know. That's also a lot of time that's passed. Like, even if your ex is alive, it's like, yeah, but that was 3 years ago. Like, why are you insecure about it?
Yeah. But in a way that's also not a lot of time, particularly for their children.
No.
Not okay to make
No, it's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time as far as grieving goes.
Right.
But it is a lot of time as far as if you're dating someone and it's like they haven't been with someone for 3 years. You're not like, oh, well, how do you feel about this? It's like, it's been 3 years.
It's over. Well, now we're even more clear that she's done for.
Oh,
no apologies?
You have apologized.
Now that I've clarified the things I was most asked about in the comments, we can go into the update. While I'm writing this update, it's the day after I talked to my kids. So last night around 5:30, my fiance left for work. She works nights most days of the week, so I was able to call my son and ask if he could come over so I can talk to him and his sister. He goes to our local college and lives in an apartment near his school. When he started college, he wanted to move out, but also wanted to stay close to us, so he settled on an apartment a few blocks away from the college. He came over and I called him and his sister into the living room to talk with both of them. When they were both seated, I told them point blank that I didn't think the wedding was happening anymore and that the comment she made was unacceptable. I then, by the advice of the comments, apologized to them. I told them I was sorry for not saying anything for so long and letting the tension thicken in our home. I told my daughter that I understood why she hasn't spoken to me and that I was sorry for allowing her to think that I was even remotely okay with what she said. I felt pretty spineless after we had gotten back from dinner that night, so I wanted to do everything in my power to make it right with my kids during the conversation. My daughter told me that she felt disgusted at the comment Amanda made, and even more so when I didn't defend her mother. She then told me that the past 2 years that she's known Amanda, she felt like she's been gradually trying to push her and Sam away from me. One of the examples Liz gave was when my son moved out. He moved out when he was about to start his sophomore year of college, and when he mentioned the idea of moving out, Amanda was the one who took that and ran with it. According to Liz, Amanda was the one encouraging Sam the most to move out. To be clear, I was never against Sam moving out, but I was clear to him that he was welcome to live at home for his college years, and even after until he found where he wanted to be. I asked Sam if he felt pushed out by Amanda, and if that's why he moved out. He said he hadn't felt pushed out before he told everyone he wanted to move, but after he put it out there, my fiance kept pushing for him to move out. Liz cut in and said that every time she brings up college, Amanda keeps encouraging her to go out of state. Liz doesn't plan on going out of state, and she's been open about wanting to go to college, go to the college Sam is attending right now. Liz said she feels like Amanda is waiting till she graduates high school and goes to college so she can move out. A lot of the comments were right about the subtle comments eventually turning into Amanda wanting my kids pushed away from me. Liz said that she was scared that by the time I eventually noticed the way Amanda was acting, too big of a wedge would have already been driven between me and them. I told my kids that I'm sorry it's taken me this long to notice, and that I was also sorry they've been walking on eggshells for so long. I hugged my kids and told them that no matter what, they are my top priority, not Amanda or anybody else. A lot of comments pointed out that even though my son is grown, he still needs a father, and I made sure to let my son know that I will always be there for him and his sister, even when they are well grown. The entire conversation lasted about 2 hours. We covered a lot of the bases we wanted to, and it got emotional on all sides. In short, Amanda and I are done. I've made it a point to tell my kids that none of this situation is their fault, and that Amanda is the grown woman who said what she said. My kids and I are okay right now, but they aren't 100% with me and probably won't be for a while. I'm completely fine with that and just want my kids comfortable in their own home. Amanda has tomorrow off from work, so I plan on talking to her tomorrow. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner table. I don't want my daughter here when it all goes down, so she's staying tonight and tomorrow night with Sam. So that's where I'm at right now. Not super happy about the outcome of me and Amanda, but would rather have my kids happy and healthy than have a wife. Again, thank you everyone for the advice and the harsh words. I'll update after I call off with Amanda. Thank you everyone.
Wow.
I mean, I think this guy is really stepping up.
I love this
He's
man.
stepping up.
Yeah, he's doing great. I would also say, like, I don't know, if I put myself in her shoes and I am dating someone whose wife passed away and has kids, I'm like, I am not even giving you advice. Like,
you're not gonna try. You're not gonna try.
I'm like, hey, hey, I'm wondering about college and stuff. Be like, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm not gonna be like, you should go out of college. You should go out of state.
Yeah.
You should.
Why not?
I mean,
if you did believe it, like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, go out of state. Go fly somewhere. Go learn something new. Go live in a new place.
Based on the kids' reactions, though.
Yeah, that's not what it felt like to them.
I'm getting the gauge, like, and the fact that their reaction was, because I think if she was awesome, I think if they truly liked her and she said that, I think their reaction would have been like, hey, super out of pocket. You shouldn't have said that. They were done. It seems like they were maybe done before she said that.
Yeah.
And now they're unloading on like, hey, we felt like she actually doesn't respect us.
And that would ultimately be my advice to this guy. Again, I think that he acted accordingly. And I respect everything that he did. I do think he should have, maybe at the table, it was also shocking for him and it was like, whoa, what? And trying to deal with that. But I feel like after a moment of shock, like, I feel like you got to go to the kids.
You got to get your shit together.
You have to go and talk to the kids. 3 days is a long time to not check in with them.
3 days is way too long.
Way too long.
I understand at the dinner table of being in shock and being like, but
yeah.
And even if just it's like an hour passes and you're suddenly like, okay, I need to, yeah.
But
we're not
like,
leaving this place. We're not
immediately.
leaving this place without talking about it.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not letting you ruminate,
I am
marinate in that sauce.
Like I said,
no.
I'm the type that'll be, I think a lot, but it doesn't, a day's not going to pass.
Right.
No.
And also though too, like it's also something to be said that all of this was happening with his kids and he didn't know. You know, like I think
he's not checking in with his kids.
I think a check-in would have been great, like because he, to his knowledge, he was like, oh, like they like Amanda, she's always been friendly, whatever. Like he should have checked in.
Yeah.
However, I feel confident in saying lesson learned for him. It seems like he really knows and lines up his priorities. He's got his values in check now, so I'm good with it.
Yeah. Update number 2. Because he talked with Amanda.
I keep getting scared that we're like, yes, this man, yes, this man. And then
Yeah,
we're
there's
gonna
gonna be a shoe. The shoe drop?
So this is
the ball drop.
Wait, the other shoe drops.
the other shoe drops.
The ball drops too, right?
The ball drops, the shoe drops.
No, you drop the ball, the shoe drops. Continue, Shane.
2 days from the original post. Okay, everyone, here's the update you guys were waiting for. So where we last left off is my kids and I talked, made up, and my daughter is staying with her brother so she doesn't get caught up in what is about to happen with my now ex-fiance. Before the hard part of the day, breaking it off with Amanda, I made a call to my mom to let her know of the situation. A lot of the comments told me not to bash my mom for the comment she made. Now thinking back on the situation with a clear mind, the comment my mother made towards Amanda was most definitely a compliment towards her. And that was confirmed.
What was the comment? Sorry.
Yeah, I forget.
The mom had said, like, I'm so glad you found a spark.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad you found that spark that you had with Kayla in
that's
someone
fine.
else.
Oh,
Like, oh, you found love again.
Okay.
Like, I'm so
Yeah,
glad you found something like
Agreed.
that.
And that's what spurred I'm happy she's dead?
I'm happy. I know. It's like, dude, you
Girl.
don't. That is a
Yeah.
comment you don't need to respond to. That's a comment you can
No,
just like.
that
you
is
should
a-
just- That's one of those where you just like grab their hand and you just go like.
That's a super
That's all you
warm
do.
comment. It's
Yeah.
a very heartwarming thing to
So
hear.
sweet.
Yeah.
Or you compliment what you see in the dead wife. That
You
it's
were-
still here,
you were
existing. That's what
in.
I'm saying.
You were in.
Or just thank them for the turkey.
Yes,
was it Thanksgiving
thank you
or was it just
for
dinner?
allowing me to be here in this place with you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not I'm
It
happy she's
wasn't
dead.
No, not that.
I also love the idea. There's a crazy scheme in my head where like the mom is like, I'm gonna get her now. Like she sets it up.
The kids are like, now.
Now get it.
And she's like, now Liz, you go run to the room. She's like, no. They're like, 3 days, he hasn't
3
budged.
days. We did it. We did it. Amanda's gone.
This is Liz and this is Sam.
I love that.
And that was confirmed in the call I had with her. My mother, bless her heart, felt extremely guilty for the entire situation. She fully believed the situation all stemmed from her one comment. I assured her that none of the situation was her fault and that I've never blamed her one bit for any of this. We talked a bit more before I let her go. The call ended at about 9:15 a.m. and I was left waiting for Amanda to wake up. She woke up at around 10:30 a.m. and I didn't want to ambush her straight after she woke up, so I waited until about 11:10 a.m. to sit her down and talk. A lot of people in the comments suggested to secretly video the whole thing. I thought that was extremely smart, so I had my phone set to
What?
record in my back pocket
Wait,
the entire
what?
time. I don't know.
Oh no.
Shoe,
The
drop,
ball,
ball.
the ball, the shoe.
So I had my phone set to record in my back pocket the entire time. I didn't think she'd try to do anything drastic, but I would rather be safe than sorry. The talk with her went about as well as anyone could imagine, so not great. I told her I needed to talk with her, that it was serious, and we sat in the living room. When we were seated, I began unloading at her about the comment she made about Kayla at my parents' house, how it made my kids feel, how it made me feel, her lack of an apology of any sort of or any sort of acknowledgement to what she said, and so on. I told her I expect her to give an apology to my parents, my in-laws, and most importantly, my kids. During the entire time of me unloading on her, she didn't seem to show any bit of emotion other than her eyes, which were slightly wider than normal. After I spoke my truth, she straight up asked, "So if I apologize to everyone, we'll go back to normal?" I told her point blank, no. I told her that the comment she made at dinner was not the extent of my problems with her. I then told her that I know she heavily pressured Sam to move out when he wasn't even sure if he wanted to at that point in time, and that I also know she is now trying to do the same with Liz. I did my absolute best to leave my kids out of the situation, but told Amanda that the way my kids described her treatment towards them was the main reason I don't see a future with her anymore. Amanda was stone-faced up until I told her we were done. I think that's when the panic set in for her. She kept saying that she'll apologize to everyone, that she'll make it right with my kids, etc., etc. I told her that if she apologizes, I will certainly appreciate it, but we were still done either way. She was full on crying at this point and asked me, why wasn't I willing to try and fix our relationship? And I told her that even though I loved her, and I'll be honest, I still love her very much, I was not willing to take another chance of my kids being hurt against the way they were. I was frustrated and shot back at her asking why she was trying to push my kids out of their own home. And I got back an answer I was not at all expecting. I was completely shocked at her response. A lot of commenters actually hit the nail right on the head with what Amanda was truly like. Amanda responded with, well, I didn't know you expected me to house somebody else's kids for the rest of my life. I immediately saw red, and after about a minute, I told her to get out. I told her that my kids can go wherever they damn please, especially in the house that I own and pay for.
Hell yeah.
She tried to retaliate, but in the end ended up packing a few bags and went to stay with one of her friends.
Good.
I emailed a copy of the phone recording to myself. The talk only lasted about 25 minutes, not nearly as long as the talk I had with my kids. So if anything ends up coming out of the conversation, I have all I need to keep my name clear. I've texted my kids that Amanda is out of the house for good, that they are welcome to come home anytime, and let my son know that if he wants to, he is more than welcome to move back in completely.
Oh.
My daughter is coming back from her brother's place in the afternoon, and I still have phone calls to make to my parents and in-laws to apologize for this mess of a situation. Amanda is out of my house, but keeps blowing up my phone for us trying to work things out. I'll let her come by in the next few days so she can collect the rest of her stuff out of my house, but she is not welcome to live here again. I'll be honest and say that I am a bit devastated. Despite everything Amanda did, I still love her, and I probably won't stop loving her for a minute, but I'll be okay. Right now, I just want to focus on the family that needs me, and I will use this situation as an excuse to bond more with my kids. Another big thank you to everyone who helped me in the comments. A lot of the advice you guys gave played a part in making things right with my family. I will update if anything else big or important happens, but as of now, I'm taking it one step at a time and making it right with my family.
Wow.
That guy, pretty great.
I love that.
It's a pretty great
My blood
dude.
is boiling that she did not apologize. And then she's like, well, if I apologize, will it be okay? Like, that's not the problem, Amanda. You clearly don't care about literally
It sounds
anybody.
like she was unaware. She just did not have any
He dodged a
awareness.
bullet, like
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah. I love, though, that he still found a way to just spin it around and just be like, at least, like, now, like, through this whole situation, what I might have just gotten out of it, though, is a chance to be closer to my kids.
Yeah.
Which I think is maybe, again, just what that family needed. Like, in a really weird, like, in a kind of twisted way, it's like, again, everything that happens brings you to the place that you are now. And so maybe all of that needed to happen so that the three of them could come together and be stronger.
Right. No, I mean, he most people, I don't think, would handle this situation as well as he did.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, most people marry that person.
Right.
I would say most do. So really good on him for listening to the right people and making the right choice. And she confirmed it for him. Yeah. Like, by saying that shit about his kids, it was like, no more doubts.
Definitely.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Well, next story. I started a nasty rumor about someone back in high school that turned out to be true.
Oh! That's the best.
Whoa.
I am instantly involved.
I wonder if this is the best in this case, because our confessions is rarely like,
oh wait,
good.
yeah, because it could be a really bad rumor.
I'm thinking about, like, okay, grounded, real rumor is like, oh yeah, I don't know if is the rumor about a woman or a man, or just like a rumor being like they have a kid. That feels like a type of rumor that you'd spread, or that they committed a crime of some sort, and then it's true that they committed a crime.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but what crime? Don't just say they committed a crime. Like, did they murder? Do they cook crack?
I don't know.
What do they do?
Yeah,
crack.
okay.
There are rumors at my high school of murders.
And people cooking crack.
There's a movie about the murders that happened at my school. Yeah.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, we can talk about it another time.
Okay, so no predictions from you guys?
Oh, I got a prediction.
What's the rumor?
They like to put Legos in their ass, and one's been stuck in there since 5th grade, and now they're in 10th grade.
Okay.
Maybe like somebody got held back like 5 times.
Oh, they're older than they say they are.
Exactly.
Whoa, like a whole orphan situation?
Yes.
That's a nasty rumor.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Let's see. This is my first time posting here, so sorry if this post breaks any rules. I'm using a throwaway because I have to get this off my chest and don't want my main account to be associated with it. This happened in high school, so I was about 15 or 16 years old, and it was a small high school in a tiny southern, mostly conservative town.
Oh no.
Surprisingly, mine was one of those schools that pretended to care about discrimination based on sexuality and gender, but it was all very half-assed. I am a transgender male, female to male, so back then I couldn't be out to too many people, so I mostly presented as a girl and was only out to a very small group of people who I considered to be my close friends. There was this one girl who I thought I could trust with my identity, so I told her, but she went and deliberately misgendered me behind my back. Not to people I wasn't out to, but to my close friends who knew of and could discuss my identity. Mind you, if someone slips up and uses she for me, I don't care. I correct them real quick, or they will correct themselves, and I will thank them for it. Most trans people will tell you the same thing. Slipping up the first few times is no biggie. Just quickly correct yourself and move on. Please don't over-apologize. It makes this awkward for everyone involved. But this girl did it deliberately, going as far as rolling her eyes when I quietly and politely corrected her. My dead name is not easy to pronounce for English speakers, and my chosen name at the time was more American, but she still went out of her way to learn how to pronounce my old name so she could call me it. I was going to tolerate it because between my grades and my home life, I wasn't in the mood to deal with her. But one day I was sitting with a friend and she told me about this girl's behavior. I told her I just wanted to brush it off, and my friend asked if I was really about to let her do that to me. For some reason, that made something click, and at the time, I thought I wasn't respecting myself by doing nothing about it. I decided to start a rumor that the girl was hooking up with her cousin.
Oh! In the small town.
Hey!
Yo. A lot of people were like, hey, don't make fun of her for that.
I tried to be subtle about it. When someone mentioned her, I would ask, is it the one that's dating her cousin or another one? If I was asked about it, I'd say I think it's kind of gross, so I try not to think about it. People in that school loved drama. It doesn't matter if it sounds true. If it's juicy enough, it's good enough to spread. So of course the news spread like wildfire. It was scary to watch because I thought I'd ruin someone's life over a small conflict with something that wasn't actually true. Eventually the rumor reached her and she was livid. No one knew who started it, and I had always claimed that someone else had told me about it. I thought she had been denying it when I heard that she knew about the rumor until I overheard some classmates talking about it. I'm very quiet and keep to myself, so I think people assume that means I'm not listening or won't tell when they gossip around me. That means they would talk loudly and I would be able to eavesdrop on the conversation. Apparently, she wasn't denying it. She was defending herself. She was threatening to fight people, asking if it was really that wrong since they weren't planning on having kids, and saying, so love is love until it's us, referring to herself and one of her cousins. It was wild, and it made me feel sick, both because it was a rumor I started that got people into this mess, and because it turned out to be true. Eventually, things seemed to settle down when the administration made a vague statement about minding our business when it comes to people's personal lives. It hasn't been that long, but I have graduated and I'm a sophomore in college now, and I still lie awake at night thinking about it. I practically ruined someone's reputation and got off scot-free, but at the same time, this person was in an incestuous relationship with her cousin.
Yeah.
Years later, and it's still as conflicted to me as it was back then. She was not a good person, and I think she deserved it to some extent, but it still makes my stomach churn with guilt still for some reason. Well, it's because you're a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah, does the punishment meet the crime? I don't know if I can say specifically. I mean, this person went out of their way to disrespect someone in a way that they absolutely knew would hurt them the most.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I mean, and certainly this person wasn't trying to, they didn't even know. They were just doing, I'd say, a very typical high school thing.
I mean, honestly, like, ball was in their court once the rumor was out there and they decided to confirm it. Like, does punishment meet the crime? Not at all, because in my opinion, there wasn't even punishment. You date your cousin. That's what you do. Like, and if that's what you do, that's how you live. Like, I'm living my life how I live my life, and you can't respect that.
Yeah.
Like, you're out, like, that's crazy. No, the punishment should have been, she should have made up the Lego rumor. There's Lego still in her ass from when she was in 5th grade, and everyone knows it. Because then at least the punishment is, like, you deserve, you know, like.
Yeah.
No, this is just real.
I've witnessed something kind of similar, not not this, but
when I dated my cousin.
But I swear, yeah. So, but people who are, I think, the most judgmental and disrespectful towards others, it often turns out that they got some shit going on in their life.
Yeah, that she's so insecure about it.
Yeah, like I know of someone who's very judgmental towards people and like their love lives and whatever, and they've been on like Maury Povich like multiple times.
Oh, really?
And it's
wow. Wait, but not like as an actor. Like as that's where they're gonna
like
solve
that's
their
where they're
problem.
solving their thing. It's just like hey, like, you know, maybe like don't be disrespectful then. Like if you got some shit that you're doing. But it just sucks. Like and also that she trusted this person. I thought that was very poignant what they were saying too of like, you know, slip-ups happen, but you can absolutely tell when someone's
doing it.
And
on purpose, not
never
good.
in my life, I mean, and obviously all of us are incredibly respectful and try our best, but never in my life have I ever made a mistake, a misnaming, misgendering, doing anything like that, and the other person's been mean about it. You know, like, it is such a normal interaction for someone that it's like you wanting to educate yourself and treat someone with respect. It's like, oh, I want to treat you with more respect. And they're going to be like, oh, thank you for wanting to do that.
Exactly.
It's totally fine.
Exactly.
This person's an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, total
Nail
asshole.
on the head.
Some comments here. So, Roll Tide.
So Roll Tide. Yo, that's incredible.
Someone said she should have minded her own damn glass house then. I say good for you. Don't waste your time thinking about her. She certainly is not spending any time thinking about how she went out of her way to hurt you. You're a good person. Sometimes good people are pushed too far. I know you're a good person because you're wasting your time thinking about the time you spread a rumor about someone who actually was doing that very thing. That's true. Like, I don't think she needs to be worrying about it now.
No, let it go. Let God.
I don't think he needs to worry about it now. But the fact that they're thinking about it still is yeah, you're a good person.
Yeah.
But it was true. They didn't spread a rumor.
They spoke the truth.
They, you know.
Honestly, should put it on a resume, should like change the way they think about it. It's almost like they won the lottery. Yeah. Like, are they a psychic? You know, like there's levels. Are they just really good at predicting, you know, cold reading people? I think.
And they also got away with it completely. Nobody knows that they...
And they never did it again. They are a good person. They've never tapped into this power.
Now, she definitely had something coming to her, but I'm going to point out that you got lucky. I feel like you would be in a lot more trouble and feel worse if you started a vicious rumor that wasn't true. It's pretty funny that you nailed it, though. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but if it wasn't true, then they would have denied it, and I think it wouldn't have had the same impact. But the fact that it got to her and she was just like, so what?
Yeah, dude, that's so weird. That's so, honestly, like someone should call the parents. Someone should write a letter and put it in the mailbox.
It's so, rumors are so devastating. And I stopped going to school in middle school, but even amongst like young actors, there was just tons of rumors that were always spread. And it's like, it's a bummer. It's definitely like probably one of the main weapons that teenagers use against each other.
Yeah, it sucks because it's like the power of the bystanders involved, and like you all learn it when you're kids by like don't be a bystander, but at least for me, not until my brain was much more developed like out of high school where I really was like, oh, like the fact that rumors have power is that everyone else is giving it power because between the two people, they know what's real and what's not, you know, and it's everyone else that's willing to feed into it.
It's one of those things too that you don't learn a lot about. Like as a kid even, you're like, hey, if you see something wrong, stand up for that. But a rumor is kind of this thing that you don't see it happening. It just kind of is a thing that exists, and so you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, and you're also like, unfortunately, especially in middle school, I think it's really bad because kids are practicing and like repeating behaviors they see adults do in like places that aren't necessarily fully, you know, looked after. There's not enough adults, so like they are, you know, not all parents are the best, you know, so maybe you're copying them how they talk shit, or you see them, you know, or this or that, and then all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of shitty kids doing it to each other, and then there's one specific kid that's getting just destroyed, you know, and that's why it's just so sad.
Yeah, I think moral of the story is stay out of people's business. Stay out of people's business.
And don't date your cousin.
Today I up by faking a British accent for 12 years.
That's not today.
That's this decade. Whoa, okay.
I can't believe I did that all today. This happened in high school at summer band camp. I did not know anyone at this camp, and I flew in from out of state. When I left the airport, my best friend called me and we were talking. I had an inside joke with my best friend where we would just talk to each other in random accents for no reason. This time I was talking to her in a British accent. Little did I know that a group of people from my summer camp were standing right next to me, waiting for the camp's bus to pick us up. I get off the phone and one of them asks if I'm here for the camp too, and I say yes. He then asks me where I'm from and tells me that my accent is so cute. I had really bad social anxiety in high school, and in my anxious mind, I thought this dude would think I'm weird for faking an accent. He was also cute, which made me more nervous. I totally panicked and just said, England. Then he asked me what part, and I said, London. Then, thinking he'd asked if I'd flew in from abroad, I said I was raised in London and then moved to the US. That was where the lies started, but not where they ended. The entire bus ride to the camp, this guy was talking to me about British TV shows like Doctor Who, and I kept faking the accent. So we get to the camp, and by now I'm thinking I have to come clean and say it was just a bad joke. But for some reason, my anxiety is going, no, don't do that. It's too late. You are British now.
And you're right.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That is what's gonna happen. Everyone in the bus had heard my accent and me talking about how much I love Doctor Who and the London theater, never been. So for the entire 2 months of this camp, I pretended to be British. I even watched YouTube videos on how to fake a better accent and words to say to sound more British. That guy and I became friends and we kept in touch. I never came clean. It's been 12 years. For a while, we kept in touch a lot and would FaceTime and I'd fake the accent. We aren't as close anymore, but we still talk over Snapchat sometimes. And whenever I send him a Snapchat where I'm talking, I have to fake the accent. At this point, I think I'm stuck being British forever to him. He can never meet my other friends or family. He lives in a different state, but if he ever visits where I live, I guess I'm faking the accent. I wish I had never faked the accent. Edit. I didn't pick a dialect, but I did have the brilliant idea to say my dad was French Canadian, and we spent a few summers in Canada when I was growing up. I thought this would explain it if my accent sounded off to anyone because I would have grown up hearing his accent too and taken on some of it. Obviously, looking back on it now, that wasn't as clever as I thought at the time. LOL.
Wow. 12 years?
You cannot come clean now. That person would actually think you're a serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah, you're stuck. You're stuck being
so
British.
That's so funny. It reminds me of Nicholas Hamilton, the actor. He plays the bully in It. He's kind of a buddy of ours, and like he has an Australian accent, I believe. And one time he was like doing a really long story, like talking about this hotel room, and I realized like several minutes in that he'd been doing an American accent the whole time, and I was like, wait, and it like even that like changed my world. And then he at the end he's like, oh damn, I realized I did that, and he like said he did an accent, he, like did the American accent the whole time, probably because of a role he was doing at the time. Sure. But like even that, I was like, wait, hold on. So I'm wondering like what that friend would feel when they were to learn that.
Oh,
you know where this person up, besides that, when you have an accent and you come and you go anywhere, honestly, but like you go to America, after a while, especially after 12 years, it kind of like fades out a little bit because your brain like rewires a little bit to fit in the space that you're in.
Or if you move to another country, you might build a little bit more accent.
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay Lohan. I'm kidding. But yeah, so she could have easily just like laced in a thing where she's like, yeah, I think my accent's going away. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because I have a friend who she lived in New Zealand for 2 years, and then like just a word randomly would have like the sound on it. And so, yeah, it won't even take a couple years for it to fade away.
What if her accent, we haven't heard it too, what if it's just like, it's like, where are you from? I'm from London!
It's Dick Van Dyke.
I'm from London!
He's like, oh, your voice is so
so
cute.
Toothy. That's so toothy.
Your accent's so cute.
London, England, I like Doctor Who.
So here's a little bit of a thing, a quirky little embarrassing thing that I did. When I was in 7th grade, I was in this out of school track team, like a club track team. And sometimes I would pretend, and listen, this girl was crazy. I don't know who she was. that girl was me. But if I like had curled my hair that day and then showed up to track practice, I would pretend I was my twin who went to boarding school in London because I liked having an accent, and it was just nobody believed me, but I like committed so hard to it. Where like my name's Charlie, and I'm Courtney's sister, and I went to London, and I studied abroad since I was 3. It was really, really weird.
That's super weird.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It is. I was raised by homeschooled kids and was homeschooled for a little while, so
that's the weirdest thing I've ever
it was
heard
a little
in my life.
slow to figuring out reality, you know?
And that person grew up to be Charlie XCX. It's crazy.
Yeah, nobody, I don't think anyone believed me, but I had
do
fun.
shit like that when you're
Yeah,
young.
when you're
I feel like
young,
people
I had fun.
People do that shit. And even if you don't believe it, it's still like people just do it.
Yeah, I am an actor now, so
yeah.
I think that was a part of me always of just wanting to just do silly characters and things, and the fact that I named myself Charlie. Charlie bit my finger.
Yeah.
Charlie bit me. What the hell, dude? But to be fair, I was almost named Charlotte.
Okay.
So I think it was just
then it's actually super normal.
So actually, it's normal, and I actually am Charlie, and I'm from London.
Some comments here. Pretend to knock your head in front of him and then start speaking with an American accent. That shit will be hilarious. Plot twist, he's been faking an American accent for 12 years and doesn't know how to tell you. Wow. Someone said, so which part of London are you not from? There are distinct differences in accent and colloquialisms even within that one metropolis. Please tell me you went full Cockney. Someone said, ironically, your 12-year dedication to a lie just to avoid an awkward moment is probably more British than the accent itself. It's not just the accent, it's her whole, she's catfishing him.
Yeah.
She's personality catfishing him.
Yeah.
He knows what she looks like, but he doesn't know
her.
anything else.
Yeah.
Good thing there's an update.
Oh, okay.
I did it. I sent my friend this post and told him. Turns out he sort of figured it out years ago because he saw my dad post something on my Facebook page that made him suspicious. He did some Googling and quickly figured out my dad had always worked in the US. My dad is a university professor, so his CV/work history is easy to find online. There are even videos of my dad talking at conferences clearly with an American accent. Anyway, my friend said he suspected for years and just didn't want to embarrass me and thought it wasn't worth bringing up because we weren't super close anymore when he figured it out. Nothing romantic ever happened between us, by the way. I just had a slight crush on him that summer. We're both actually married now. I apologized for lying to him, and he said it's fine, but he's never letting me forget this, and I have to do the accent if we ever see each other in person again. LOL. I'm glad I came clean, but I still feel really bad and embarrassed about the whole thing. Honestly, I'm sure I'll be cringing to myself about this for the rest of my life. LOL.
Oh boy.
Insane.
She's doing an Italian accent with her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Honey, who was that? I don't know.
Snap a shot the frame.
Dude, and it's all of this
She's
was
like,
for
"I love
someone
you."
that she's not close with.
Yeah.
The things we do.
I know.
Crazy.
That's friggin' wild. No, see, I would have gone, at a certain point, I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna go this whole summer camp, and at the end, I'm gonna be like, I
them.
freaking got you guys
Yeah,
pranked.
exactly.
Epic pranked. Got a vasectomy. Now I have a superpower? I, a 33-year-old man, got my vasectomy last year after having 3 children. My wife told me I had to. LOL. Oh man, was I scared shitless after watching 100+ YouTube videos on the matter.
I'm scared right now listening to this story.
Nonetheless, it wasn't necessarily the pain I was afraid of, but rather how it could affect your sex life. People complain of numbness or not being able to get off anymore, which makes me nervous. Well, after a year and a shitty shirt from my wife, my new ability, so to speak, is that now I can on command. Whether that's a gift or curse, I still can't put my thumb on it. It's no longer a matter of damn, that feels good. It's either the session is taking too long or my wife is spent and tells me to climax with her. Is this worth bitching about? I'm not saying I'm a stud now by no means, but sex isn't the same for me now. I feel like I've fallen under that notion of being numb, I guess. It's hard to explain. I jokingly told my buddies not to get the procedure, giving them my experience. They laugh and say they wish they had that ability. Anyone else here go through changes after a vasectomy?
Wow.
I'm gonna get a vasectomy.
Wait a minute.
Okay, first, before we move on, this is the comment.
Oh, top comment?
And Noah, you're gonna love this. Dude's a nut bender.
Wow.
Someone said everything changed when the Seaman Nation attacked. None of the other nations saw it coming.
Oh my God.
Prime Reddit. I'm sure that went on forever. That's Reddit for you.
Incredible.
I like to think when he's like, I can on command, he's just anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's just like, he's at a restaurant and they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, they cooked the steak wrong. He's just like, oh yeah, it's okay. Oh. Like what? No.
Yeah,
They get this like he's at Chili's. And it's like, here's the molten lava cake. How is he? He's like, oh.
The manager comes out, sir, you've done that for every single one of your 3 for $20 courses.
There's no fucking way. You already came after the chicken crispers. Yeah. There's no way you're ready yet.
Oh my God.
That man just came 5 times during his Chili's.
We need to ban you from this restaurant because everyone else is demanding a refund.
Oh my God.
Holy shit, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love that he's become so powerful that he's like jaded.
Yeah.
He's become One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Someone said, bro, make sure you don't have a 3rd sperm tube. My cousin was born this way after uncle had a snip. Was the biggest scandal since sliced bread. Turns out uncle had a 3rd tube and auntie didn't cheat. Whoa. Kinda jealous how your kids immediately follow your command right away. OP said, this is funny, LOL. Now only if I had total command of the 3 kids I do have, LOL. Someone said, yeah. Nice. Was the same for me before and after. Do you think your after effects could be a mental thing? Like your seed doesn't do anything, so your brain is subconsciously going, what's the point? OP responded, I like this answer a lot. You're probably right that it is something mental on a subconscious level at the least. Someone said, I know I'm a bit late to the post, but I'm glad someone mentioned the mental possibility. It could also be hormonal. A common side effect of hysterectomies and tubal ligations is low libido and even dryness. It sounds like your vasectomy is having a similar effect. If you're unhappy, which it sounds like you are, definitely speak to your doctor. They may have a way to help you or get you a referral to someone who can. I know they're reversible, so...
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. They take a dead guy's nuts.
Noah, shut up.
No, they're reversible. I think it's actually a pretty mild procedure.
It's supposed to be really easy to do.
It's not an intense thing.
Yeah, both are supposed to be super easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so when would you cut it off? When would you be like, okay, how many children would you have before you would get a vasectomy?
Well, just as soon as you're just like, I'm done.
But what about you specifically? What's your cutoff amount of children?
It depends, I guess, on the situation.
I don't think I need a vasectomy to stop having children. But that made it sound like I already have kids. No, I don't think I want any kids.
You don't?
Yeah, but I also don't think I plan on getting a vasectomy at this point in my life.
I get why some married couples do it because it's just like, sweet, now we just don't have to worry.
Yeah, there's no risk.
I mean, and we get to just do whatever we want.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like 35 and you already have 3 kids, why risk like this random
I think it makes
pregnancy?
a lot of sense. But he became too powerful.
Yeah.
I want those powers.
I don't know. It sounded like, listen, people always say the grass is always greener, and that's why I know I stay on my side of the lawn. And this sounds like that. It sounds like the grass is always greener. Because, I mean, his wife is happy. Everything sounds great, except he's devoid of joy.
From being too awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. My boyfriend, who's 33, suddenly told me he wants to establish traditional gender roles once we get married.
Okay.
That's it. We don't need to hear anymore.
Moving on to our next story.
Yeah, the last one.
I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years now, and it has been wonderful. We have been talking about marriage lately, and as it felt right for the both of us. Over the course of our relationship, we often talked about what our goals are and what we wanted our future together to look like. I was always vocal about how I wanted a more equal, non-traditional relationship. We both work, we both don't want children. I expect to have a joint account with him and pay our expenses proportionally based on our income. I do make more than him, but I don't mind since I believe us to be a team. And for the last 3 years, he's agreed with me, or so I thought. These past 2 to 3 weeks, we have been setting a timeline on our wedding plans and all, basically talking about all the concrete steps and little details. And so I asked him again how he wanted our marriage to be like, but in more detail. He suddenly told me that he wants us to have traditional gender roles, and I was so confused. These past 3 years have not been that way. I am so confused how he just expects us to change after marriage. I have been dating him and wanting to pursue something serious with him because I love our current dynamic and he seemed happy too. I have made it clear since day one that I want to maintain what we have now until forever. He has never told me that that was not the case for him. Now I feel tricked/lied to. He told me that although I make more of the income, he wants to be the man of the house, the leader, and so what he says goes. He has the final say in the decisions and I cannot be questioning.
What the hell?
I told him this will lead me to not being heard and miserable. It will make me feel less valued. He says it's the best way to avoid arguments. Sure, less arguments because what I think wouldn't matter, but I will build resentment and then it's no longer a happy marriage.
There's less arguments. I'm sorry. There's less arguments if I make all decisions.
We won't argue if I'm the only one who can speak.
Right. If I sew your mouth shut, there's gonna be less arguments.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
Technically the truth. In my previous post, I mentioned that I have seen him binge watching alpha male podcasts recently. I was about to say, I think this dude was red-pilled.
There's no way.
And I don't know if he has always thought this way or if it's recent. All I know is that my whole body is telling me this is not it.
Right, listen.
I cannot marry him. It sounds like trouble, but am I correct for thinking this way? I don't know why, but the last 3 years have been so wonderful that it's so hard for me to wrap my head around this sudden switch. Please give me some advice and courage. That sucks. I wonder how often that's happening to women nowadays with all that shit.
With all the podcasts.
Yeah, just men getting convinced of this stuff. Like, it's just sucks.
It's so detrimental.
Dude. It's such a bummer.
It goes back to the point that we were saying earlier as well, where again, you hear something like this and at first glance, it's like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Like she needs to leave him again. But it's still like, no, that's not always who this person was.
Right.
And it's really hard to shake off all of the hurt that's happening right now because of all the memories you had before that.
Right.
Like it's a very drastic change and I feel so bad for her because she's definitely navigating a lot of like, is this a change that I need to just walk away from? Or is this like just a phase? Like what's going on?
This isn't the first story we've had like this on Reddit stories.
That's sad.
There's been other ones. There was an insane, I think you were, Chance, were you there? For the one where they were friends and suddenly he was just like, yeah, you're my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a whole similar type of ideology of just like, yeah, you're
here.
I get to decide that. Like just fully brainwashed into thinking like women are lesser and I can make decisions for them. It's unfortunately happening and it's so awful.
Crazy.
Some comments here. I would have laughed the entire time I packed. Someone said, seriously, a 33-year-old man-child, so gullible and naive, thinking he's an alpha bro, lol, to the fall for the red pill, took to fall for the red pill, expect toxicity and childish tantrums from now on, just end it and watch him melt down. Another comment, it sounds like you never really knew him. He sounds like he's always been a misogynist. You just never got a clear and direct answer from him. You say you were always vocal about what you wanted, but was he? You never mentioned if he agreed with you. You said you asked him again, which shows you never had a solid answer yet. You both still talked about marriage. Did you both agree on things or was he passively acknowledging? This doesn't sound like a sudden switch. This sounds like he was passive and now he's actively acting in his own best interests. It's just that it's come down to crunch time. Maybe when you look back at your first interactions with him, you'll notice the pattern of passivity on his part. Not saying that this is the case or it's on you, but it's that the signs were always there. It's just not easy to recognize them. Women especially are conditioned to tolerate a lot of things because being single as a woman is the worst thing ever to alpha males as it happens. Be wary of what you think is right for you and what's expected of you to tolerate. OP responded, I think you are right, actually. There were many times where he would just nod, and if I directed a question at him, he'd answer vaguely to kind of match mine and deflect. I think that made me think he agreed, especially since he never said anything opposing it, and he clearly knew my position. I think I just expected people to be honest and gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm naive, I guess. Thanks for your response. Yeah.
I think that's definitely an important note that the person who made that comment made as well. Like, it is 1000% not her fault. Nor is it like, you know, any woman who finds herself in that situation because like these ideas aren't just like crazy and out of nowhere. Like they clearly were something that it was something that was in place once.
Yeah.
So it's like, in a way, it was like not crazy at some point. Like that was something that actually was out there. So you're right. It's like, in a way, women are just kind of conditioned where it's just like, well, as long as we're not actually going back to that, like this is something that's okay. And then you have something straight up in your face. And she's still kind of like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I gotta get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also it's like that, I don't know. It doesn't seem like she was, she was letting a lot of things slide. He's clearly watching a bunch of podcasts and stuff that she wasn't aware of. Like, I mean, if she knows that he's doing any of that or watching any of that and consuming that stuff, it's like, okay, that's not lining up with what you agree with me on. And I don't know, I think if these things are this important to you, as I'm sure they are for everyone, it's like, it's not a matter of just saying it and getting a nod. It's like, you kind of should talk it out.
Totally.
And really like hear it from him. Cause this is not the first time. We've also had ones where a guy will just be like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right.
And then suddenly it gets down to it. And then
that just happened in the other story today.
Yeah, no, it's people who clearly are, thinking, oh, well, okay, you have your fun little ideas.
Right.
Yeah. You'll change once we get
married. And then when they have a point to make, they have it all outlined and they have plenty of words to share.
Yeah, no, he's a piece
I feel
of
like
shit.
I overcompensate like in like the relationships and friendships that I have. I feel like whenever I have a point to make, I feel like I'm like, oh no, let me be clear about this. And I also want to receive from other people like, oh yeah, no, definitely. Right. Otherwise I'm like, wait, how do you feel about it though?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you could say these guys are afraid of the response that they're going to get. But I also think it's that they're thinking, oh, I know she won't like what I believe, so we need to get married first so that she has no choice.
That's
which is also stupid because once you're married, someone still has a choice. But he's thinking in old school.
Once I lock it in,
and she won't be able to make a choice.
Totally.
Your blood and ink.
But that's a dangerous person. I mean, really, like anyone who thinks any form of that way, I think is dangerous.
Completely. Because then what else are you going to condone that is absolutely ridiculous?
All right, update. And trigger warning, there is like pressuring sex in this. So if you want to skip ahead, our last story is going to be of a lighter tone than this. But let's get into this. Thank you all for your responses. I wanted to update you guys on what happened and hopefully answer some of your questions along the way. I luckily don't live with him or have any shared assets. He also did explicitly say that he expects me to continue working, so I guess he wanted the best of both worlds. And before we started dating, I was hesitant due to our age gap. I have heard of horror stories, so I've been very careful about power dynamics. But he was amazing for the last 3 years, so I did put my defenses down eventually. My friends and family also liked him. They always said we genuinely seemed happy together and complimented each other well. On to what happened. He came over to my house the night I posted on Reddit, which isn't unusual. We spend most nights together after work. I knew I had to break up, but didn't know how to yet. I was still debating if I should ask him more questions or just end it. And if I end it, do I tell him everything or keep it concise? Luckily, he did not suspect anything so far, so it bought me some time to figure out my next step, I thought. As soon as he came in, though, he tried to initiate intimacy, and I said no since I was not in the mood. Understandably so. He got angry. He has never done this before. We have always had a very healthy, fulfilling sexual relationship. But now he kept trying to convince me to have sex with him and asked me why I was putting my needs over his. That I can just force myself to do it for the sake of our relationship. I said that I wasn't feeling well. I know I shouldn't even have to justify though.
No.
He said that even if I'm not feeling well, it's not an excuse. I was disgusted. I fell out of love that instant. I mean, I was already in the process of it, but this really did it.
Good.
I also felt very unsafe. I stood my ground, told him that this is not consensual and that someone's health is more important than his need for sex. I kept repeating it until he eventually stopped pushing, but he didn't leave my place until an hour later. I was afraid to anger him again by telling him to leave, so I just stayed quiet doing stuff around the apartment until he decided to leave. Luckily, nothing happened to me, but wow. I told my friends and family everything. They support me in my decision to break up and help me prepare my speech. I asked him to meet me in a public space the next day as one of the comments suggested. My friends were nearby keeping an eye. He was still angry at me because I haven't been talking to him and I refused sex. He asked me why I expect him to take care of me when I'm unwell, but I didn't give him sex yesterday. I decided to not waste my breath in explaining something so basic. I went on with my breakup speech as prepared, where I told him everything, how disrespectful he's been, all the podcast stuff, etc. He suddenly looked so scared and begged me to take him back. He said he understands what I'm saying and that I'm right about the podcast and that he will work on it. He was trying to convince me not to break up, but I did not believe anything he said. I held my ground and told him there is no room for discussion. It's over and I left. Now I feel a weight lifted, but I am also heartbroken. I know this was the right thing to do. I just feel defeated. I wake up so anxious and feel like crying constantly. I am barely eating. I am seeing a therapist next week to help cope. If you guys have words of encouragement and maybe success stories of meeting your person, I'd love to hear. Thank you all sincerely. You all helped me in finding courage and strength in my time of need.
Wow.
Thank God she got
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God she got out. Oh my God.
Yeah. Scary Town.
Scary
again.
Town, USA.
I would say for anyone that is an unbelievably instant
Boom,
get out.
gone.
Get out, get out, go,
Fly.
just go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any form of that is an immediate leave.
Oh my God. What a terrible person.
I should just say it over and over again. I'm like, you're not listening. Clearly, you're not listening.
And then he just tries to like flip it and then just try to be like, wait, I'm so sorry.
I know.
Too
How
late.
delusional this guy was, even to himself.
Yeah.
Because he clearly wasn't thinking it was ever a possibility.
He does not know who he is at all. And this
No.
man is 33. Like, he needs to get a grip. He needs to get some help. And he needs to be completely just change himself around.
I feel so bad for her too, because she's like, if you guys have words of encouragement, maybe success stories of meeting your person. It's like, you're 25. You're fine. Like, you have so much time. You have the rest of your life, truly, but you're very young. But I remember how I felt at 25, and you think it's over.
It feels breakups feel like death when you're like in your early 20s, because you're like, oh my God. And again, like, there's still that, like, even if it's not like your specific timeline of getting married, like, you're still like in your head. I guess I'll say, like, personally for me, like, I don't want to get married like anytime soon, but I've always grown up with like these numbers in my head of like, right, like before 30, or like your biological clock, or like maybe in your mid 20s, or like my parents got married when they were like younger than I am right now. Like, there's all of these ideas in your head that are floating around. So, I mean, breakups in general suck, but a one that lasted like 3 years, you can't help but the fallacy. You can't help but think tough. Like all this time was wasted, and it's like,
but
no,
it wasn't.
You learned.
Don't cry because it's over.
Wasted.
Smile because we're happy.
It's never wasted.
What the hell?
Even most bad relationships, you learn so
much.
Well, the reality is, and I think this is my take on, it's not necessarily an age gap. It's that someone in their early 20s, I worry that a lot of guys, especially dudes in their 30s, if they're dating someone who's in their early 20s, it's like, are they into you because of your insecurities? Are they into you because they think they can pull one over on you?
Yeah.
Because once people have gone through now that she's gone through this, you can't pull that on her anymore.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of predatory men out there who probably immediately recognize
That's so
that
true.
and go, oh shit, I can't fool her. I can't trick her. Like, and
what is all this trickery?
But it's full on just predatory.
It's not the way. It's not the way.
Yeah. The last thing that I'll say too, with the age gap, it's also not I don't think there's a magic number or anything. It's definitely just individual personalities and maturity levels.
True.
What do you know, and what does this person know, and are you able to be young together? Are you able to be older together?
Right.
Like, are you able to just fit into these different timelines?
Right. No, I mean, there's that guy could find a woman in her 30s that he could find the same way to pull it on her.
Completely.
But I think that's what he was looking for.
Yeah.
I get that sense.
And he was like, I have this power, I have this ability.
Yeah, and he's a coward and he's an asshole.
I liked it.
Some comments here. It's funny how the minute it sunk in that his behavior has alienated you, he began the frantic begging and bargaining. Well done on remembering you have innate worth and self-determination. You're strong and brave. Someone else said, yeah, OP, I remember your post and was one of many that encouraged you to get out. I am so damn proud of you. Aww. Someone said, I decided to not waste my breath in explaining something so basic. Champion.
Nice.
Someone said, hey, it's not easy to end a serious relationship. Your investment of time and shared experiences and love was not wasted. It brought you to this place. You know exactly who you are and what you deserve. You did good. Proud of you.
Aww.
I think this is, I'm not happy she went through any of this, but like she is double the person.
She's got some tools in the tool
belt. Oh my God,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
do not fuck with her now.
Lesson learned, experiences, like that's all just gonna come in handy for her life.
It's like Bella once she becomes a vampire.
Now we have to move on.